The Wahiawa Whitmore Village Neighborhood Board meeting is called to order at 7 o'clock on Monday, February 26th. Roll call order, please.
TJ? Joe? Dean? Oh, okay. Sylvia? Aaron?
Present online.
Michelle? June?
Here.
And Jean. Thank you. Everybody's present, so we all have quorum.
Thank you very much, everyone. On the agenda, we are on item 2, first responder monthly reports, calling up our fire department.
For fire, the one fire. Or benefit. Call 911 right away when they're, once the operator is on the line, clearly. Big call. Operator may ask for it. Yourself in the spot where you do not. Not know the password.
Any questions from board members? Okay, none. Any questions from the community at in Wahiawa? Yes, go ahead. If you can go to the microphone and introduce yourself.
It's Leanne Baker, and I have a question regarding the fire department. I had heard something like the UH is going to be making a design for fire, like the fire for Lahaina. So Wahiawa, if you notice, when the traffic gets jammed, we really need a fire safety. So is the fire department the one involved in that?
You mean like in
Fire
terms of a
safety.
fire safety plan to maybe evacuate us?
Yes.
I think there'll be a couple agencies that would need to coordinate that. As far as a direct answer for you, I can go ahead and try and get that for you and get back to you at our next meeting.
Okay, thank
But
you.
yeah.
Thank you. And did you have a question also that you wanted to ask? Sure. And then just introduce yourself, your name. Yeah, thank you. And you can move the microphone.
Oh, hi, I'm Arlene. I just had conflicting information, so I just wanted to verify. When a homeless person is arrested and they have their cart or their wagon, I was told two different things. I was told that the stuff gets taken to the station, which later on I thought that's not true. And then the other police officer told me that they get one phone call to call a relative, and then you can tell a relative to come pick the stuff up for them. And then the third thing is or do you just leave it there and let somebody just steal it?
No, I know. I would probably direct that question towards HPD when they come up here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
That's right.
Yeah, for us, we don't usually deal with that. No.
Go ahead.
Yes, in regards to your question on the fire, Amy, Representative Amy is taking care of that. And it was in her community update letter. And she says, well, you can come read it. So you're aware of it. They're working on a plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, go ahead, Joe.
Just a comment on that. We've been trying for a decade now to get an alternate route out of Wahiawa. And so far, we haven't been too very successful in that. That's related to the evacuation as well.
Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
So also to add on to that, if you did not receive Representative Amy Peruso's February bulletin, there is a Zoom meeting coming up on March 4th. I'm sure you can give Rep. Peruso's office a call for the details, and I'm sure you can find it on her social media. And we do have one of her office people here, Diego. I'm sure Diego has the information to share. And we are also, as of today, I am planning to have the conference room at the Whitmore Community Center set up on March 4th. For those of you who do not have Zoom access or may not be comfortable with using Zoom, as soon as all the details are confirmed, I will be sure to get it out as quickly and as efficiently as I can, because it is coming up on next week, Monday, March 4th, and it is with the Hawaii, help me out, Diego, Hawaii Hazardous Preparedness Program, something like that, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, TJ. Any other questions from the community? Any questions virtually? No questions virtually. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 2B on the agenda, our police department.
Good evening, guys. I'm just Officer Brandt from the Wahiawa Police Station. Let me just give you some of the stats that happened from 2/21/24 to 2/25/24. Auto thefts, there was 8. Kind of a lot for an area of only 25 days. Burglaries, only 3. That's actually down. Robberies, we had 1. UMVs, unauthorized entry into a motor vehicle, we had 4 of them. Assault, we had 4 of them. And motor vehicle collisions, we had 47 of them. That's actually really high, okay, guys? So my safety tip, I'm gonna have to talk about that, is just driving safety tips, Practice defensive driving, That's the main thing. Watch your speed. Speed always plays a fact. Of course, drunken driving plays a fact also, but speed also. That's probably gonna be the most major one. Drive at a safe distance, 3 to 4 seconds behind the first vehicle. I know everybody's in a rush in the morning, Cam Highway, California Avenue, that's where that's usually happening on Kilani also. Looks like everybody's in a rush to get somewhere, which I understand, We live in Honolulu and Hawaii. Kind of crowded, the roads are pretty tight, for our population, but just give it some time, be courteous. Always wear your seatbelt too. We're having a problem with that recently. And be courteous to other people, while you're driving. That's probably gonna be the biggest thing right now. But that'd be my safety tips for today. And I just letting you guys know the update on Plum Street. I went to the owner's house in Milani, knocked on the door, he didn't answer. One on Plum Street and California, the Texaco. So I was informed that from his neighbor that he sold it to the state and the DOE bought it. So we went over there a few times to enforce it. We removed the people that were living there, the houseless people was there, and now they're building a fence around it. And then once that's done, I guess Starfront, the school, is gonna put 2 portables there. And then when the annexed area up on the top by California, that building is fixed or made, they're gonna send everybody up there, and I guess they're gonna use that spot for parking for the Leeward Community College and that program that they have there right next to it. Any questions?
Yep, board
Yes.
members?
Just one question. Thank you, by the way, for your report. You said that there were 3 burglaries?
Yes,
How many of them were residential and how many
it
of
was
them
all
were?
residential.
All
All
residential.
residential, yeah.
Oh,
But we've been having problems, like I was saying, not this past month, where guys were stealing the Hyundais and the Kias, and they were smashing into the vape shops. We're fortunate, our crime reduction unit has been working at night, trying to stop that. So we haven't had one recently. But for some reason, when we stop, things go back up again, It's the way of the road.
Any other questions from board members? Okay, hearing none from the community. Go, Lee.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Chose you first, but I didn't see that. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Because you didn't mention it, I just thought I'd give an announcement that the library on March the 2nd, it is Saturday, at 10 o'clock, we'll have coffee with the cops. I guess they're going to have a Lego game going on the side too, because there's only one room there. But for those of you guys who are interested in talking to a cop, I think they serve coffee also.
Yes, we usually do it at Starbucks.
Please come because it's very interesting to be able to dialogue directly, with the police officer.
And I'm sorry, can you repeat the date and time again at the library?
10 o'clock, in the Wahiawa Library, Public Library,
This Saturday, yes.
this Saturday, the 2nd.
Yes, it's this Saturday, March 2nd at 10 o'clock. And I'm sorry, would you
Correct.
please introduce your name on the mic?
Oh,
For those of
Lady
you-
Armand,
Yeah, for those of
Community
us who
member
don't know who, yeah,
and I
thank
know
you.
TJ very well.
Thank you, Lay. Any other questions from the community?
I'm sorry, Marlene, would you come back up to the mic? Yeah. And then you can direct your question to Officer Brandt. Thank you.
Okay, when you're arresting a homeless person and they have their cart, their wagon
Yes.
stuff, do they get a chance to call somebody to pick it up?
They do. We'll give them, if they have someone to call.
Or if they have someone to
Yes.
call, someone will come in.
If
and
not,
pick
we
it up?
usually just leave it there.
If not, you just leave it there. Okay.
Yes.
And then
That's
when
still their
you-
property.
well, we witnessed somebody getting arrested
Okay.
for trespassing.
Okay.
But when the police officer was emptying out his pockets,
Yes.
everything flew on the ground.
Okay.
And then they moved him, away from his stuff.
Yes.
So somebody else went over there, another person, I don't know who that
Okay.
person was, it wasn't a police officer. And they started putting all his possessions that was in his pocket into a bag.
Okay.
So I asked him, what are you doing? He said, oh, I'm just putting it all into a bag and I put it right on top of his wagon.
Okay.
So I asked the police officer, are you going to take that stuff? So when you empty out their pockets and
Yes.
everything, it
Unless it's identification. Usually when I do it, I'll pat them down. Okay. I'll pull out a whole bunch of different things. I'm looking for means of escape, weapons, anything that can hurt me while I'm patting him down or while I put him in my vehicle. And then I'll ask, what do you need? My wallet, officer, I usually need my cell phone, nothing else I don't need. You know what I mean? So usually we're just gonna take the basics, the cell phone, the wallet with his identification. If he doesn't want nothing else, somebody will come and pick it up. I probably
Okay.
wouldn't, but
okay, so there was cash, so he had cash, it was
Okay.
a $20 bill.
okay.
So I don't know if that got in the pocket of the other person who was putting the stuff in,
Yes.
I don't know, but
Mm.
the police officer did say he saw the cash, so he probably took it.
Okay.
Okay, so that kind of stuff that he'd say, I want my cash.
Yeah, I want my
Okay.
cash or my wallet or my cell phone. Usually the big one is my cell phone. So when I need to bail out, I can call someone or I have my phone numbers on my phone. Can I open up, use a police phone and make a phone call?
Okay.
Yes.
It's just that while the police officer was taking him away, like somebody else ran up there and started picking up all his stuff off the
Okay.
ground.
Yeah, usually we just ask what they want,
Okay. all right,
especially for any arrest, actually.
Okay,
Mm.
all right.
And I'm
thank-
sorry, could you repeat your name? We didn't, right here.
Oh, Arlene.
Arlene, thank you very much, Arlene. Thanks for being here.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Aloha, I'm Teresa Duff, and I have a question about noise pollution and enforcement of people who are driving through residential areas with their homemade speaker systems, with their windows open, with this boom, 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 boom,
Yes.
boom, and MF this and F this going on. And I understand that it's difficult to enforce.
Very easy.
Oh, is it?
Very easy to
Even
give citations. Yes.
you?
20 feet, 30 feet. I hear it. I chase them down. I don't chase nobody. I pull them over and I issue a citation. Yeah. Because we don't chase. Yeah.
Because we're talking
Yes.
about during the day when some of us who
Yes.
work at home or have
Or at night.
children, oh yeah,
Yes.
or children who are napping, and we have this interruption in our
When we
peace.
see it, it's a citation we like to give because we know the community does not like it. Yeah.
You can hang out on
Yes.
Olive and give out lots
Yes.
all day.
I
long.
usually when I was on the North Shore, I would hang out right at Spaghettini's and I would watch everybody drive right past on Cam Highway. I would keep my light off, which I'm not supposed to do, but I'll pop it on, pursue them, turn on my lights, issue them the citation. You know? I've seen speakers hanging outside the vehicle. I've never seen that before. I was shocked, like the speakers on the outside facing outwards just so people can hear. So usually we cite like there's no tomorrow. And then we take photos and everything is on video. And then when I do my citation, I attach my video to it so the judge can see it and so can the prosecutor. Yes, we do. I swear that one we like to get.
But also,
It irritates me also.
does she have to call it in or is it?
Yeah, just dial 911. You hear speakers. I know by the time we get there, it's going to be too late, but we do it on a regular basis. Yeah. people pound their sounds. I think the community got comfortable by doing it right past policemen nowadays. And I was like, that's not gonna happen, yeah. I have to step up my enforcement and talking for myself, and I know other policemen do it also.
It's pretty bad when you
It
can
is.
feel that rumbling in
Yeah.
your chest.
And I try to explain to them, you're 19, 20, 21 now. When you're my age, you'll be deaf, I promise. With all that music and noise pounding in your eardrums. Yeah. So I try to,
Her already.
there's two, but I try to warn them and then we give citations that same time.
Thank you.
Just try to enforce.
Thank you very much. And Joe, you had a
Yeah,
question?
just almost the same question, but relating to mopeds and motorcycles and teenagers.
Yes, the mopeds and motorcycles, we do enforce that also, loud mufflers. It is against the law. 20 feet also. 20, I like to do 30 feet just because it's a lot further. You know what I mean? If it goes to court, I can, say instead of the basic 20, 30, I was further when I did. Yes, we do it for loud mufflers also. Yes.
David Wong,
Thank you.
Rose Place. Joe, you're my neighbor, right? Across on the corner? Greenhouse, okay. Right, right. So officer, filed a complaint for abandoned vehicles many months ago. There's
Yes.
a report on it. Vehicle is still there. What bothered me the most was that there's not just that, but there's other cars. They park regularly. They're not abandoned, but they park on the sidewalk.
Okay.
I never see them being cited.
And that's on Rose Street.
Rose Street, also California Avenue, they just right on the sidewalk, blocking the sidewalk. My neighbor across from me, Pepito, he has his vehicle there, and it's slowly being stripped.
Okay.
But my biggest concern was the officer who showed up and wrote the report asked me, says, so you want me to park the car?
You should just mark the car.
Exactly.
Yes. You should
But
just
I
mark
was
the
like,
car.
yes,
And then
I-
what you can
I
do,
do
if
want
you're
that.
not happy with that, ask for a supervisor.
So
all you
the
have to
car
do.
is still there. It's been
Yes.
months. It's being stripped.
I would call one more time. I would have to look at to see if it's being stripped, yeah. I would call for supervisor.
Okay.
That's gonna be a bad.
And then the other one is another officer, when I asked about roosters, because this person is a cockfighter,
Yes,
has roosters, at one
Okay.
time had 10 roosters. I've
Can only
saved
have
all the
two.
text messages.
Yeah.
Well, see, the other officer said, well, I have to go check
Yeah.
on the law. It's like, why does an officer have to go
Yeah.
check on the law? Why doesn't the officer know the law? Right. So is it two roosters?
it's supposed to be two.
Is it
chickens.
two roosters or is it two
Two chickens, same thing.
Because I,
chickens,
well,
rooster.
see, this is what I've
Yeah.
heard. I've heard that it's two chickens, no roosters.
No, it can be any of them. Yeah, it can be either roosters or chicken, but you can only have two.
Anybody
Yeah,
have
but
any
we've had
discrepancy?
that, we've had that discussion previously and it was always two, whether it's two roosters or two chickens, but
Okay.
it's two, yeah.
I have
That's true.
10 cats though, so.
Yeah, that's another story, right?
Don't
That's
mix it up,
poopy-
Joe. Don't mix
that's
it up,
poopy
Joe.
cats. Yeah. Okay, that was my question.
Yes,
My
let me
wife,
just,
it's our second anniversary. Hi, honey.
congratulations.
Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
thank you. I just wanted to follow up. David Wong, the reason, and I'm going to speak,
Mm.
the reason that an officer says, let me go check the law is because he wants to be sure that the information that he's giving you is current and accurate. Another suggestion for those of you that are out there, if you see an abandoned vehicle, please take a picture of it, note the location, and then use the city's 311 app. And I've said that for, I don't know, every meeting. It does work. And this way, it not only gives HPD a record of it, but you get an email response that says your report was received, and then you can track it and you can follow up. Because if you look on my phone, on my 311, yep, it's a phone app. Yeah, you can just look City and County Honolulu through. I have 87 reports. Anybody can come and look at it, going back 2.5 years. So the tools are out there. This is an app that our tax dollars pay for, so make use of it. It's the city's 311 app. No, it's just look up City and County Honolulu 311 and the app. You can download it from the App Store. But again, the tools are out there. Use them.
Thank you, TJ. And yeah, the question.
Liz McCarthy, I'm so sorry. I'm going to talk about those
That's right.
motorcycles
That's right.
again.
TJ,
I'm
Okay, wait,
sorry,
wait,
they're
wait,
going to drive
Liz?
me
Yeah.
crazy.
yes.
But anyway, we called. Now, this latest incident in Waianae where the young kids were on property they shouldn't have been and there was a shooting.
Yes.
This is property they should not be on.
Yes.
And I don't know why we cannot enforce children not doing what they're supposed to do. It just blows me away. Can we block it? Can we, I don't want to do it. Like I've driven down there and then I think, oh my God, am I going to get shot? It's not safe for me to do. Why can we not? It's every day. The kids are popping wheelies. They're speeding. They're doing what they shouldn't do. And I don't know why we can't. So I wrote a letter to the mayor. I asked for him to come to our community and I would give him a tour of our community of what's going on. I did not get a response, but I've done everything I know to do. But my neighborhood is being violated and it makes me so sad. But not just for me, but for my kapuna. I've lived in Hawaii almost my whole life. I've never seen such disrespect going on for my community and my neighbors, my elder neighbors. They don't feel safe. And for that, I feel very sad that we are not protecting them. So it's not just against the kids, but they don't want to walk their dog. The kids speed by. They don't feel safe. So what can we do as a community? Can we not just take 2 police cars and just leave them down there and say, kids, you can't come? Can we hold the kids until their parents come? Because the parents are giving them the motorcycles. The parents are giving them the equipment. The parents are allowing them to do it and it's illegal. So I
Okay.
don't get why we do that.
All good points. And let's hear from HPD and then.
I was there a few times. I went down and I go there weekly because I go visit Sam at, times I'm there, they're not there. I don't know if they see my blue light. I don't. Okay,
But
would have
that's
to tell the patrol guys.
They go, so the other night, they went until like late at night. They know I'm going to come at 6:30. They don't leave till 10. We can hear the motorcycles coming. I mean,
The times I was there, I didn't see. I'll go talk to the patrol guys to see if they can patrol roads.
but why
as
can't
much-
we get the military there? It's their property,
yeah.
right? So when somebody gets hurt there, what's going to happen?
Correct. And so we did talk about the at the last meeting. So the
Yeah.
property behind the middle school, it is military property. And they do sneak in through.
Yeah.
And I do know that the military has repaired the fencing multiple times. And again, it gets cut through. So you're right. That is something. And I know they took that question back from the last meeting. They were going to check into it. I'm not sure if they have the answer yet, but they were going to check into the options of what to do with that fencing. So at least it would prohibit people from going through. The fact that they can cut through doesn't help that they can cut through the fence. That's another problem though.
But
Yeah.
what about a policeman holding the child and their parent has to come get it and you cite the parent? The parents are giving them the motorcycle. The kids can't afford it.
This is true, yes.
So.
But to catch the child is gonna be, to keep a policeman just on Rose Street, I cannot do.
No, I
That I cannot
understand
do.
that.
There's only 4 policemen for all of
I
Wahiawa.
respect.
And we do all the military bases.
And
Yeah.
and I'm not sure about this, but that your suggestion also came up previously, not recent. I'd say maybe more than a year ago, when this started up, like all the and at that time it was said that there's no law or to hold the child. It's like a different law to do that, like because you're just holding them so that the parents come, and then you want to cite the parents. So it was kind of a.
I couldn't cite the parents, I'd
Yeah,
have
you-
to cite the child. They have to be 16 and under. But
Okay.
again, they're not
So
supposed to be
that's-
riding on the
So
road.
we're not, so we're not trying to.
It's a
Yeah,
year
exactly.
later and nothing is
Yes,
done.
I
And the
agree.
kids know it,
Yeah.
and that's why they do it, and
Yeah.
they play chase,
Yeah.
and they're cocky, they're rude,
100%.
and so
So I
didn't
think-
we learn from Waianae this past weekend? It was a 17-year-old who shot that guy on his property.
Oh, Chair, excuse me.
Mhm.
Let's
Yeah.
not talk about Waianae because you don't know,
Okay.
You don't know what happened with that, okay? So let's not
Okay,
talk
hold-
about why.
Okay,
happened.
calm down,
You're on
everybody.
private property,
Understood.
and this is private property, and why are we allowing it
Okay.
to happen?
So this is a conversation that obviously we need to, we'll continue to have, but I think we do need to brainstorm. And I can tell you in the past, we've actually had separate community meetings to deal with traffic situations, which we did. We did a tremendous job, and kudos to the community and our board and other agencies. But we cleaned up a lot of the traffic situations that were happening. We also worked on the speed humps and speed bumps, the difference of those, but it took a while. So maybe this is an issue that we have to create separately to have a committee meeting for discussion for the public and see what we can do. Because at those meetings, we seriously got a big turnout, as far as, so why
How
don't,
about the
before you
mayor
leave,
coming, the mayor, the governor?
Yeah.
Do
so
they
before you
ever
leave
come?
today, we actually they did come, they do a town hall meeting, and the mayor is having another round of town hall meetings. I don't have the schedule in front of us, but that's a good opportunity for you to bring it up as well. So before you leave tonight, can you give me your contact? Yeah, and then we'll go from there, because we have a lot going on, and we can stay on this for
Okay.
hours. So I think everybody knows the issue, everybody sees it, and
What
Joe is.
what we can do is, if you want, we can start a neighborhood security watch.
Yeah,
You
that-
get 4 or 5 people together, and once a month we go walk during that time, yeah?
That's why I was saying, my husband and I just are spending $10,000 to put a gate because we don't feel safe in our community now. And to me, that's sad. I've lived in Hawaii most of my life. I cannot believe that I have to put a fence up because the homeless have moved in 2 blocks from where we live. They're in the neighborhood now, and because of the kids. And really, it's costing us $10,000.
Okay, thank
Well,
you.
we can start a
Let's-
neighborhood security
let's-
watch. If
okay,
you guys
so
want, maybe we
again-
can do it twice a month.
Is it safe for us as lay people to do? Because I would do it,
Yes.
but am I safe?
Yeah, so I
This is
think
Hawaii, you're pretty safe.
yeah, and
Let's keep it real. This is Hawaii,
Yeah.
yeah. You could be living in Detroit. You could be living in Chicago,
And-
LA, New York.
yeah,
You know what I
and-
mean?
and just-
Hawaii is a pretty safe
yeah.
place. That's why it's so
Just to
expensive.
wrap this up, just so you know, again, in the past, the former chair, and God rest his soul, Ben Aquihito, he coordinated, and we all took turns walking, and we walked, and at that time, it was, the issue was of the, what's a nice word?
You
The-
walk with a policeman. I'll be
we
there
were-
with you.
There were, ladies in the evening that were all over on Olive, in that whole area, and they walked, and they had an HPD officer with
We'll,
them.
we'll have 3 HPD
Yeah,
officers.
and we walked it, we already had a schedule, and you know what? It cleared up. It actually cleared up, but it took several months to coordinate and to get going, but with the help of HPD, we got it going. So it's a brainstorming session that we would have to, community type thing that we can do separately. And then we'll go from there. So you got to be a little bit patient, but we hear you, because we're all getting emails about this situation as well. So thank you very much for being here. And again, congratulations on your 2nd anniversary. I haven't forgotten. That was very good.
Chair,
Okay,
just really
we're gonna,
quickly,
last one, Joe, and then let's go to the virtual, because we have community. Go ahead.
I'll take you up on your word there. I'll volunteer to lead a community.
Yeah, that's perfect.
neighborhood
And we can go down Rose Street. We can walk around. The encampments over here. It's no problem. We give you guys yellow vests. Give me at least 10, 15 people. Just march the streets, yeah? Even if it's 5.
Thanks, Liv.
Yeah.
Good. I'll get together with you guys. And
Yeah, Officer Brown.
you my number or
I have a quick question,
Yes.
officer. Thank you to you and all of your men and
problem.
women. We do appreciate you, and we know you're sometimes put in harm's way, so, we really appreciate what you do. On the Kamehameha and Olive, Maui Mike's and McDonald's,
Yes,
as I'm coming into Wahiawa, and I'm in the far right lane, and I
Yes.
have to turn right
yes,
at McDonald's.
yes.
I cannot tell you how many times people in the far right lane go
Great, yes.
including the bus.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Many-
but yes, I've seen everything else.
Every day I see the bus do that.
California,
So-
Pam and Kilani also.
Yeah. So what that does is it gives other people permission to do that. They see, oh, the bus does it, it must be okay. So there is no special permission for the bus to do that,
No.
right? Okay, I
They
didn't
have to
think so.
Abide by the rules of the street. Yes.
Thank you. And actually, that was one of the 8 improvements we did to Kamehameha Highway. was to create that right-hand turn because there was so much traffic congestion. And we removed the sidewalks that were on there. So, but what happened once we removed that, everything flowed better except for that lane where people go straight across. So I still have the contact for, from the transportation services, and we'll remind them, maybe they can do another mark or something.
We enforced on Kilani and Cam,
Yeah.
but while they were speeding, they were almost running us over while they were trying to.
See? Yeah, they gotta-
Because we're trying to stop them,
Yeah.
but they're too busy looking back to
Yeah.
see if they can merge. The policeman is right there. We're like, well, this is
Yeah.
too dangerous to be doing
Yeah.
this right.
So I'll do a follow-up on that one.
And Chair, I
Yeah.
should just wanted to let you know also, Sylvia, that you can call Director Sniffin's office because I called and made a request for them to put the bollards back. The, you know, the pylons of, so you know, when you, let's see, as you're going, turning the right onto Olive from Kamehameha, they used to have bollards over there. They used to have pylons over there. They were big orange ones that stood like 3.5 feet up. I don't know if Mr. Brandt remembers that,
No,
but
it's before my
yeah,
time.
so you can see them because they have the reflective tape on it. So if you're in that lane that's supposed to turn right and you want to go straight, you're gonna see the bollards. And so I've asked for the bollards to be put back because nobody could tell me why they were removed.
Okay, and we didn't go virtual. Okay, go ahead, June.
Same thing could be said of Kilani and Cam Highway as you go out to the North Shore, because there's a lot of people that.
Oh, deja vu. Yeah. No, yes. So that's what I was saying. We tried to enforce it there. But when they're trying to merge onto Cam, they're looking backwards. The policeman is trying to flag them down, almost running us over.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna go virtual. Anyone virtually have any questions for HPD? Thank
Madam
you for
Chair.
joining. Yes, go ahead, Dean.
Officer, regarding the boombox violation,
Yes.
would video from home security, if we were able to get the license plate and the vehicle, would that be suffice as evidence, or
No,
you
it
need
wouldn't.
more than that?
Yeah, we need the officer to actually hear it because it has to be 20, 30 feet, yeah? So
Even
we're-
if the complainant
we're-
wishes to come forward as a witness?
Yes, the officer has to see the violation. That's why when
Okay.
somebody calls, we like to do it when we're just regularly driving around or we're
Okay,
sitting somewhere
gotcha.
waiting for it to happen. That's when we catch them.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Any other questions virtually?
Madam Chair, it's Erin Mendelson.
Hi, Erin.
Hi, just want to send out a kudos and thank you, officer. I'm participating and volunteer in the mornings at Ka'ala Elementary, walking students safely to school. After the last neighborhood board, a few officers came out and checked us out on their bicycles, and I felt that that was a nice presence. I know that there were some tickets given, and I noticed that some parents were really hesitant to drive their kids after or nervous about illegal car driving. So it's a tricky balance, right, of supporting kids to come to school and then also ensuring that, you know, there's no parking violations or road violations. But I just want to say thank you for your presence as a force. We're seeing an increase with the better weather coming up. Hopefully we'll have more students walking to school. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Isn't it great? That's what we mentioned at the last meeting. I think the bicycle squad is fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions virtually? Okay, we're gonna move on to our agenda.
Aloha. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, officer. Okay, at this point, aloha, thank you. We're on item 3, which is a recognition of the Peterson Farm family and their 114-year legacy. Unfortunately, something came up. They aren't able to make it tonight, so they will be here at our March meeting, the 3rd Monday of March. They will be here. Moving on to item 4 on the agenda is filling of a vacancy. We do have one vacant seat available, and at this time, we will open it up if anyone is interested in applying for the vacant position that we have on this neighborhood board.
Chair, may we,
Hold on one second. I'm sorry, I just have to check if you have to say something.
So since we have 5 people present, that's enough for quorum. So if someone wants to nominate someone to come to join the board, they can, or come in also.
Thank you. So if everyone heard that, we just had to get confirmation that we have enough of the board to do this motion to fill the vacancy. And so we do, and then, so the process is either the board can nominate someone who's here, or you as an individual, if you're interested, can just stand up and say, I'm interested in running for that position. Okay, so
Madam Chair,
yes, go ahead.
I would like to nominate Ms. Charissa Duff over there. She is very active in our community, has our community's best interests at heart. And if she would accept the nomination, I would love to support her on our board.
I second it.
Okay, we're not doing a second, we're not doing that. Sorry. Could you come up and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Can we get a warm welcome for Ms. Charissa Duff?
Hello, I'm Teresa Duff, and I am a resident of Wahiawa. I have lived here since 2015, but before that, I was active duty Navy. I retired in 2013, and during that time, I spent looking all over the island to find a place to settle my family. I am a military child, and so this is where I decided to put my roots, right here in the center of Oahu. I am also the platoon leader for the Mission Continues, and my personal mission extends from where H2 ends at exit 8 all the way to the North Shore from Kahuku to Kaena Point. And the purpose of that is to bring food sovereignty back to the center of Oahu. During the pandemic, I realized how fragile our food safety net was. And during the work that I was able to do to hand out food, I realized that I had to do more. And so I accept the nomination if you'll have me. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. Any other nominations? Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to nominate Matt Kirk. And I've known him for a number of years, and he is very trustworthy, community-minded. So
Hi, Matt. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Matthew Kirk. Kind of loud. Yeah, I moved to Wahiawa in, let's see, March 2020. Like we closed on our house like the day before the lockdowns, the COVID lockdowns. So that was interesting. But I'm originally from Makaha, lived there, grew up born and raised there. And we were living in like Waipahu, Mililani at the time with my wife, and we didn't have any kids yet at the time, but we were looking for actually we had a kid at that time. But we were looking for a place to live, and we kind of just stumbled upon Wahiawa, and shortly after moving in, we fell in love, and just like the whole community aspect of Wahiawa and just everything about it was, we were kind of sold on it. So I mean, I like to say it's the best kept secret on the island, really. But yeah, so since moving here in the pandemic, it was difficult to get involved in everything. But now I'm like much more involved. I'm a member of the Wahiawa Community Business Association board now, and yeah, just trying to get involved and to help out wherever I can. Professionally, my background's in human resources. I've done human resource management for like 15 years. And currently I'm a realtor with Corcoran Pacific Properties. So, yeah, thank you.
Anyone else interested in this position, the vacancy position that we have? Oh, yes, go ahead, Junior.
Just to let people know that people on active duty that live in this area,
Wait, I'm sorry,
Wahiawa,
June.
Whitmore, Schofield, can also run, just
June,
as a
I'm
matter of
sorry.
fact.
So, yeah. Okay, June, I'm sorry, can you repeat?
So just to mention, people on active duty or their spouses that actually live on Schofield, Wahiawa, Whitmore, Laulani Valley can actually participate, can be a board member, and they could actually vote in the neighborhood board elections also. So just to let you know.
Thank you, June, for that information. Okay, anyone else? Okay, anyone virtually interested in the running for the position? Okay, hearing none.
Chair, I have
Oh,
a question,
yes, go ahead.
please. So this vacancy, is it only one vacancy? And because we have two very qualified community members, is there anything that prevents us from asking the both of them to be on our board? Could resign too.
Yeah, we're a 9-member board, so yeah, we can't put 2 people in one open seat. We have 1 vacancy right now. If there are 2 vacancies, that'll be easy, but we're.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, so the vacancy, that's good. So Sylvia said, we should just remind everyone, so the vacancy, when it gets filled, is for this term, we're in, so the term will end, in 2 years. It's every 2 years. So it's not like forever. So then you have to run again and if you wanted to, yeah. Okay, so. That's it.
So we'll do a roll call. So when I call your name, you're going to state the person that you want to vote for. Okay, so I'm going to start with TJ,
Charissa Duff,
Joe, Dean,
Matt,
Sylvia,
Matt.
Aaron,
Trisha Duff, I think I'm saying her name right. Trisha Duff.
Michelle, June, and Jean.
Matt.
Let me just count. Okay, so in order to vote for someone, we need at least a 2/3 vote for one person. So we'll have to do that again because for Matt, I had 5, and then for Trisha, I had 3. So we're gonna do that vote one more time.
a point of information. Isn't 5 2/3 of the board out of 9?
So we need, yes, out of the 9. So, oh, you know what, sorry. So 2/3 of the current board members right now. Yeah.
So that's 5.
point of information, the number of seats for the Wahiawa Neighborhood Board is 9. 2/3 of that would be 6. Whether or not any of the seats are empty, the number of seats on the board is 9.
Okay, a vacant seat cannot vote. So it'd be 8. The count is 8 then. That was my error. And it is 5, which is 2/3.
You know what, let me clarify that. Okay, so since we have a total of 9 seats, so we do have our spreadsheet that's already totaled by the 2/3, which is 6, and then to make quorum is 5. So the person that will be voted has to have that 2/3, which is 6, even if the 1 seat is vacant. Okay, so we'll do the vote one more time. Okay, TJ,
Ms. Duff,
Joe, Dean,
I'm sorry, I can't hear the other members unless they pick up a mic to vote. Could you please retake and
Just
ask
Joe,
all
Matt.
members to pick up a mic? What was Joe's vote, please?
Joe voted Matt. TJ
Thank you, sir.
voted Trisha.
Thank you. And Dean's
And
voting
Dean.
for Matt.
Sylvia, Aaron,
Trisha Duff.
Michelle,
Matt,
June,
Charissa Duff.
and Jeannie.
Matt.
Still 5.
Yeah, so the results are the same.
Sure about those numbers?
Not the voting numbers, I mean. Oh, is it written somewhere?
Okay, I'll have to pull up. So I'm gonna pull up the rules that says 2/3 for the votes.
Eugene said an empty chair cannot, seat cannot vote.
That is correct. An empty chair cannot pass a vote. So that's why if it's a full board, then it would be 6 to pass. On an 8 count, it's 5.
Somebody else. Yeah, it could be somebody else.
Chair, would you mind if we took a recess while you folks discuss whatever it is that you're trying to clarify?
Stand by, because she's almost got the language.
Okay. Well, the topic is called quorum and majority vote. This is the presence of a majority of all the members to which the board is entitled shall constitute a quorum to do business. The vote of not less than the majority of the entire membership to which the board is entitled shall be necessary to take any official action, unless otherwise specifically provided by this plan or by law. The vote of not less than the majority of the entire membership.
We only have 8 on the board. Yeah. I understand 6 being a quorum for a regular 9-member board. That's for any decisions to be made.
Yeah.
That's different than vacancy, filling a vacancy. Is there anything specifically about filling a vacancy? Like, what if we had 2 vacancies? I'll go there, never mind.
Okay, so I'll read this part. It's called membership vacancy. Any board member vacancy occurring shall be filled by the board as soon as practicable after its occurrence. The remaining members of the board shall appoint a successor of requisite qualification to fill the vacancy for the remainder of the unexpired term. The board may only fill vacancies for the board's current term. A vacancy shall be filled at a regular meeting of the board. Individuals seeking appointment shall be nominated by a board member. No second is required. A majority of vote of all the members to which the board is entitled shall be necessary to appoint an individual requisite qualification to fill any vacancy. Before a board may take a vote to fill a vacancy, each individual seeking appointment to the vacancy shall provide evidence Satisfies, how to say that? To the executive secretary or designee that the vacancy, oh, sorry, that the individual is duly qualified to fill in the vacancy. The method of voting shall be a roll call vote with each member stating the name of the nominee which they cast their vote for. One or more vacancies on the board or failure of the board to achieve quorum in successive meetings interferes with the ability of the board to conduct its business in 3 successive meetings. So that does sound like majority, the 5 will work. Okay. So since we did the vote earlier, we can go back to on the results. So with the majority of vote, it was for Matt Kirk. So I'll need to confirm with his address. So you have an ID, and then I can do the oath of office on the side, and they can continue on.
Chair, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Candidate, or excuse me, new board member Matt, have you attended any of our board meetings prior to today? Virtually or in person? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Just want to add on that I confirm with his address, and it is within the district.
Okay, thank you very much. So while everyone is patiently waiting, I do want to remind, because this is a little bit of a delay, that we will ask kindly that for the rest of the meeting that we be as efficient as we can be, so that we're not at 9:50 or 9:55 trying to close up. But let's work together and try to keep the questions really tight and necessary, if you don't mind. We always appreciate our first responders. We do spend a lot of time, because Wahiawa, we care about our community. So we do ask a lot of questions, and so it's okay. But moving forward with this late, because we're almost at 8 o'clock already, and we've got a couple of presentations. So we really need to get to those as well. Yeah. Because the Wahiawa General Hospital is a big issue. So we need to get that. Yeah. And we're going to end. So a lot of questions on that one. So if everyone can bear with us and work with us to get through it. So you guys, I know there are a lot of questions, and you guys can ask your questions, not only for that, but some of the other issues as well. Okay, everyone, can we welcome our new board member so that he Very good. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone, for being interested in Teresa, for having her great background. Charisa, thank you for that. Thank you. CHAR? Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, on the agenda at this point, we are on item 5, our monthly reports, starting with our federal military. From Congressman Toguta's office. Nicole, are you in? Okay. Thank you. We're going to move on to our Army partners. Captain Cox.
Good evening, board members and our newly elected board member. Congratulations. And to the community of Wahiawa and Whitmore. So I'm Captain Cox. I'm the Army representative for this community. One thing I want to start off with is our job fair that's coming up March 19th at Mililani High School. It's going to begin from 8:30 a.m. and it's going to go all the way to 2 p.m. It's open to the public. The website is HIMWR. We have handouts here at the desk if you guys are more interested in that. Moving quickly, I'm going to go ahead and address what's already been addressed to the Honolulu Police Department, which is dirt bikes entering East Range. And of note, I want to clarify that right now, currently, the Army and Honolulu Police Department, we both share concurrent jurisdiction on all Army installations within Hawaii. So with that, all calls from Wahiawa, they go through the Honolulu Police Department, and vice versa. Calls that go through the MPs here on Schofield are also reached out for assistance with the HPD. A very similar theme to the HPD, and that is we do patrol, our military police, they do patrol these areas. Like the cutting in the fence, I think that happened a few months ago. That was immediately patched up. And so we get to it when it's reported, but outside of that, if it's not caught on the frequent patrols, it really is hard to catch at large. I do want to share a number that's a concern line that has changed for the record. It's 808-787-1528. Once again, it's 808-787-1528. So anything from dirt bikes cruising up and down the road to you see a hole in the fence, give that number a call and it'll be reported. Secondly, I want to address another thing that's brought up every single meeting, as well as I know other neighborhood boards across the island, and that's noise pollution in regards to Army aviation. So I'd like to introduce Chief Warrant Officer 5, Hill. He's the senior standardization pilot for our Combat Aviation Brigade.
So good evening, everybody. I'm CW5 James Hill. I'm well, it's the senior pilot, senior standardization pilot for Wheeler and your 25th cab. I'm here to represent that. I know last time there was some concerns about noise and obviously the helicopter noise associated with it. So I also noted on our community notes that we fly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with UAS. That's kind of a falsity. We don't do traffic pattern operations after 2300, which means we don't do consecutive laps around the airfield. We depart the airfield to do any additional training, and typically that training will run till about 1 a.m. on a regular basis if people refuel right when that closes down and some other things. So we try to mitigate that as much as possible and have those in and outs to Wheeler Army Airfield after those times to just be in and out and then shut down as quickly as possible to reduce the noise, because we know at times it can be a nuisance. I want to follow that up by also saying that the crews, they do not intentionally fly over anyone's house. If they are flying over your house, please, there is a PAO associated with Schofield. Please let them know time, date of the incident and let us know when it happened, because it's much easier to police up my own and take care of those problems if I have specific time and dates, because I can look back at historicals and find out who it was. And if they were flying against our regulations, I can find out and I can be the one that handles that for the most part, or get the crews to handle it, because it's a lot easier to police up people if they're not following the appropriate procedures. So if they are following appropriate procedures, I will let them know accordingly. And then if you have specifics that show time, date, and consistency, then it's very easy for me to change policy based off of that. Okay, East Range is on your doorstep. So coming in and out of there and departing, the crews try to avoid the populated areas. Obviously, there are times where they will get pushed into populated areas due to weather or something like this that they can't control. And we try to mitigate that as much as possible, I promise. So thank you for your time, or if there's any specific questions to myself or the captain.
Wait, stand the board members first. board members first. And Joe, if you don't mind, I want to do this first one, only because I recently received an update from the U.S. Army that they will be doing, artillery units will be from 1 a.m. to 10 p.m. And so I know that you're just saying that it's,
I'm specifically talking to the helicopter noise,
Oh, yeah,
ma'am.
okay,
I
got it.
I
Thank you.
cannot speak to when the artillery is going off. I'll let the
Okay.
good Captain
Thank
Cox
you for the
speak to artillery.
clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And then I'm going to give it to Joe because he had a question. Thank you very much.
Sir, or yes, ma'am.
Regarding flight paths
Yes, sir.
out of Wheeler, are there regulations, civilian regulations or military regulations that dictate the flight path and height?
So there's no specific regulation that limits the height at which a helicopter can fly. So I'm going to say that very specifically, a helicopter. That doesn't mean that we try to fly as low as possible everywhere. Normally, when we're leaving Wheeler to go to the TFTA, which is the primary training area, which is basically the mountain range and back, just on the far side, mostly up in what we call blue sector, which is the Kahukus. Those paths come directly off the airfield and then go up into the mountains as far as they can, and then make a left turn to try to avoid the populated area of Wahiawa up towards the ridge line, where it gets up towards the Malka side. So
They're not really violating anything if they go over our
no,
houses.
no, sir. No, sir. Well, they're not gonna fly over your houses directly. If they are flying over your houses, there is an avoid area over Wahiawa minus Cam Highway proper, where there is a departure corridor at the top of Cam Highway where aircraft are doing their best to climb out and get to 2,000 feet above ground level as quickly as possible to try to mitigate any type of noise and get to the north as quickly as possible to reduce the noise pollution for longer time periods. So to mitigate that. Yes.
Thank you, Joe and June.
So the Army, I assume, is not responsible for the Air Force flights.
Absolutely not, sir.
And the reason why I mentioned that is because during the training occurred in November, most of the complaints were generated against the Air Force flights flying their C-17s and the C-130s at 3 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, sir.
And they flew directly over Wahiawa.
Yes, sir. They bought us some good grace for a little while, but at the same time, we also were cognizant of that. And I know that our PAO was working closely with the personnel at what we call JPMRC, which is a joint readiness exercise. And I think that will get changed in following years based off of the noise sensitivity that it produced, because I saw some of the videos and some of the aircraft flying, and I was like, well, that's not flying
Yeah, I know,
friendly.
that's
So
not your
yeah,
protocol.
yeah, that was not. I can promise you from an Army standpoint, from an Army aviation standpoint, we try to fly as friendly as possible, and I try to teach my pilots to fly as friendly as possible when we can. There are sometimes those mitigating circumstances where they're going to protect themselves and their aircraft to the best of their ability. And then again, if they have to fly outside of normal paths, please, if it looks weird, get a time and date and stamp it, and then send a complaint to the PAO so that we can maybe look into it.
Because I know when the 25th Aviation used to run the medevac, they flew right over Wahiawa, and that's understandable. They got to go direct route, whatever closest or quickest way to get to Tripler.
Yes, sir. And we still have medevac to this day that supports the local community, and the firefighting that we did very recently. We were trying our best to mitigate noise even while we were doing those operations. So trying to stay out of the way. So we try to help the community where we can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other board members? Go ahead.
Sorry, your name escapes me. I think at another meeting you had spoken about the reasons that the Army was not able to patrol or access East Range is because you folks did not have the appropriate vehicles for that area. Has that changed?
That's a good question, ma'am. And as of right now, that hasn't changed. From the last discussion I had, and once again, every single comment from the board members to the community, you know, I'm a representative of the Army, but it goes all the way up to the division commander of the 25th. So every single concern you guys have is heard, and that is guaranteed. But the last discussion I had with the team in regards to that is really it comes to just limited personnel and then that patrolling, because it's very difficult to have someone at every single point within East Range to watch it at all. So the best they can do is patrol it. And if they're not catching it outside of those patrols, or obviously the military police is working with the Honolulu Police Department. And if they're not catching it within that patrolling window, really they rely on community members to make those phone calls, and then they'll actively try to patrol during those specific times. And it's a very difficult problem set. I can guarantee you every single month it's getting brought up, and it's not falling on mute ears. Every single month we're trying to discuss like what is the best way we can get after it. But just point blank, it's not a easy problem set to get after. But the team, military police, as well as Honolulu Police Department, we're trying to get after it.
So if we wanted to ask, let's say from Lake Wilson all the way up to the top of the water tower where East Range runs, if I were to ask you, could you please bring back to us the number of breaks in the fences that the Army has made note of? Is that something you would be able to do?
Right now, I mean, I don't see why we couldn't. I will ask the questions until they tell me we can't give you that information, but I don't see why that wouldn't be something we could share.
All right, that would be great. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, TJ. Any other questions here, board members? Okay, board members virtually, Erin or Dean, any questions?
Hi, Madam Chair. Hi, I think it was Captain Cox. Going back to that question or statement about the artillery, at the beginning of the month, it sounded like there's cannons or mortars being fired. It was very loud noises. What is it impacting? Is it hitting land? Is it blanks? What is that? I mean, what is the impact on the force? I don't know. I don't know what is there a projectile? What's happening there?
Yes, ma'am. That's a good question. So really depending on the artillery training that's going on, sometimes they're using night flares, whether it's smoke or they're using high explosive. But to your question at large, there's the south range is the impact area for Schofield Barrett's. So anything in regards to Apaches flying and using their munitions to really any live round that's being shot, whether it's a direct fire weapon, in your point that you just made, artillery, there's a dedicated range on Schofield that's where that impact zone of those rounds are, and nothing outside of that. So it's an Army land, and it's staying within that installation. If that answers your question.
It does. Is it readily cleaned up?
Yes, ma'am. So after every single training exercise, we do what we call a police call, and that's where we'll have the unit go out there. We'll police up any brass, any unexploded ordnance. We'll make sure that's taken care of, and we'll clear that range to the best as possible, because continuous units from our brigade that represent 3rd Brigade to 2nd Brigade, just constant units are going in there. And so after every single training exercise, we're policing that up and making sure it's as clean as possible for the next unit.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and Erin, hey, Erin, I'm just going to read off what I started to say earlier, but I was talking about the wrong thing. So the recent update that I got is that on 27th February from 1 a.m. to 10 p.m., artillery units will be conducting live fire. This is a time change to the monthly training and noise release. There will be a break in training from 5 to 6 a.m. So I think that's about kind of what you're talking about too, because it is live fire that is going to be using.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, June.
I mean, I've lived in Wahiawa all my life, and except for when I was on active duty with the Army, but I've noticed that during Kona winds, that we hear it louder from Schofield because of the winds itself. It carries the sound towards Wahiawa. And during the normal trade winds, you can hardly hear it. So yeah, Kona winds will make it louder.
Certain, and I do want to bring a good comment that, or a good point I think it's worth sharing. The reason these hours are kind of late at night from 1 a.m. At night is just because, and I'm not going to get into the heat indexes, but whether it's a direct fire weapon that you're shooting up against your shoulder, or something that the birds are shooting, the Apaches, or whether it's artillery, in the daytime, the heat index is very high. So when that round, that munition hits the ground and that explosive happens, it's very, very common that fires happen almost every single time. So what we try to do is do it when the sun's going down and it's a little bit cooler, just to reduce any fires that potentially happen. Just want to bring if you have any questions on why it's so late at night that we're doing these shootings.
Thank you.
No, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
Stop range operations that we were going to do during the day multiple times because there was environmental concerns as well as the potential for fire was higher. So they reduced the firing hours, but they pushed them to the nighttime. It had a huge impact on the range operations last time, where we would have been shooting in the daytime. We were shooting at night early in the morning and then into the daytime because of the ratio that they're running at range control. So it was an environmental concern as well. So that's what they're looking at.
Thank you. I think did you have a question on this? Go ahead.
So regarding you.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel like you're being cocky.
Okay.
This is our community.
Yes, ma'am.
It is loud.
Yes, ma'am.
I have called several times. I do not get a call.
Okay.
I call the garrison. Is that who I have the correct name? I do not get a call back.
Okay.
Valentine's Day, helicopters were going off and the booms were going off so forth. I'm a healthcare professional. I've had to call in sick twice because I can't get sleep because I'm not going to pass med when I have no sleep. We're professionals, you're professionals, but the community needs to get sleep. We need to get sleep. So why is it okay to make noise till 11 o'clock? We got to get up at 5 to go to work. So we need sleep. The community needs sleep. Children need sleep, and children should not be hearing bombs till 4 a.m. I've heard the bombs go off at 6 a.m. I don't know if it's because of roast place and I hear it, but it's loud, it's fierce, and we need rest. That's just a human nature thing that we need. So it's not okay. It is not okay to make noise all night long. We need rest. I would say, why can't it be quiet from 8 to 5? You've got the rest of the day to make all your noise. I know it's not your noise. I thank you for protecting us, but we need rest too. I needed to do my job. I know that. I'm taking care of my community like you're taking care of the community. But I can't do it if I don't have sleep. I just can't. I'll make mistakes and then I'm going to kill somebody. So, but I have not received a call back.
Okay. So we could take, yes, ma'am.
2 months.
Okay.
I did not get a call back.
And that will be corrected, right? Moving forward, that'll be corrected.
Yes, ma'am. And
you.
thank you for your comment. One thing I do want to address, you're professional, like you said, we're professionals, and with that, it is a hard location where our military units have to train. Artillery and aviation, very noise producing systems, mind you. And it's not me making excuses on if aviation's flying over your houses or you are hearing a bomb, or not a bomb, artillery shell going off in the middle of the night. At the end of the day, these units have to train to stay proficient, to protect the community, to protect the overall strategic interests of the United States, whether it's from attack, you name it. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I'm just thinking of a way to maybe improve. We could push out the training schedule ahead of time. Maybe you can further anticipate it, but once again, it's not really getting after the root of your problem, which is, that's happening, right? And I understand, ma'am, and that's something we'll take back to the team, and we'll get you an answer on it. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And then we have, TJ.
Chair, one last comment. Thank you very much. And I don't think you're cocky. I think you are confident. I think the information that you need to share because it is part of your responsibilities as a representative of the U.S. Army in our community. Your passion is there. I think the information that you give us is needed. And while she's walking out, so she may be speaking for herself. I live in this community and I have supported this community. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Those of us who have lived in this community know and appreciate the work that the military does for us.
Okay, all right, stop. Stop. We apologize to everyone. We need to stop. This is not how we run a meeting. Stop. Thank you.
So we
Okay.
thank you for your service,
Okay.
service also,
Please
because
wrap
it's
it up.
appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Ben. Okay, moving on to our friends from the Navy. Thank you very much for your patience. And I do, again, want to emphasize everyone, we are already at 8:15 and we have a bunch of things we need to get. We have a presentation that we need to get to. So I'm asking everyone to, again, as I stated earlier, please, if you have questions, absolutely, you can ask them, but please keep it concise and short. The longer you beleaguer it, we're running out of time and we are going to be running at 9:50 as we always do, which we don't want to do. So
Madam
Mr.
Chair,
Newman, oh, come back. Oh, stand by. Yes, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Dean.
real quick, I would like to ask any person who has a question, limit themselves to one question at this time. And then the chair can determine if we have sufficient time to go back for a second question. But one question at a time would help us get through our matters
Yes.
that are at hand. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And we used to do that before. So yes, we might look at getting back to that. Mr. Newman,
All
welcome
right.
back. Aloha.
Thank you. Yeah, aloha, everybody. My name is Jim Newman, and I work out of the Navy Region Hawaii Public Affairs Office. I'm also a 30-year resident of Wahiawa, 35 years in Hawaii. But I'll be giving you the Navy presentation this evening. So Joint Task Force Red Hill and the Navy Closure Task Force Red Hill hosted a transition open house on February 7th. And the intent of that event was to provide information about the residual fuel removal of the Red Hill tanks and also to let folks know about the transition from Joint Task Force Red Hill, which was responsible for the defueling of the tanks, to the Navy Closure Task Force, which will be ongoing, which is related to the actual closure of the Red Hill tanks. So for everybody's awareness here, to date, the task force has removed approximately 60,000 gallons of residual fuel from the Red Hill pipelines out of 64,000 that was there. That process is expected to be complete by the end of March, and the closure task force will be operational by the end of March. With that transition to the closure of Red Hill, the Navy Closure Task Force Red Hill launched its new website at www.navyclosuretaskforce.navy.mil. And this website will provide you with information about this new command and its mission of the closure of Red Hill moving forward. And lastly, the Interagency Drinking Water System team developed a long-term plan to monitor drinking water quality. Those monitored results are posted on the Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam Safe Waters website, and it's listed, I know it's a little bit small, but it's listed up on that slide, jbphh-safewaters.org. All of the results of all of the monitoring that has been going on for over a year, all of that is on that website. The Department of Navy is bringing in personnel, resources, and expertise to respond to concerns about the quality of water from the Navy's water system. But I do want to reiterate a couple of points. As tested and monitored, the water meets federal and state safe drinking water standards, and the Navy's priority is continuing to be to provide reliable and safe drinking water to those who live and work on the Navy's water system. The Navy will continue to work with the regulators at the Department of Health and the EPA to provide safe water. The Navy, the Department of Health, and the EPA are currently developing an extended drinking water monitoring plan so we can continue to provide those results. And the Navy will continue to respond to any concerns. And one last note, the Navy has established what it's called a drinking water long-term monitoring information booth that's been at different locations around Pearl Harbor. These booths provide information regarding the long-term monitoring plan, and in turn, they allow affected residents to view testing results from their homes and their neighborhoods, to request sampling of their residents, and to ask any questions about the plan and the drinking water. And the next long-term monitoring booth would be set up this Thursday, February 29th at the Pearl Harbor Navy Exchange, and that'll be from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. And if you're interested in any of these other events that relate to Red Hill, that's going to be on the JBPHH-SafeWaters.org site that I mentioned. And that concludes my report. I'm standing by for questions.
Thank you. Board members, any questions?
Thank you.
Virtually, board members, any questions, Erin or Dean? Okay, hearing none. Community in Wahiawa, any questions for our Navy representative? Okay, hearing none. Virtually, any questions for our Navy representative? Okay. Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank
as we all said. Okay, moving on to our government agency, we have the Board of Water Supply.
Sorry, I'm short. So aloha, Chair, Board, residents, and guests. Nicole Rodwell from the Board of Water Supply. I really don't have much tonight. There were no water main breaks in the Wahiawa area in January, and we are just announcing that we have our $100 rebate for our water since label toilets. I announced this last time too, but this is only offered for a 90-day period, and it's going through April 18th. It's limited to 4 toilets per household and 10 for commercial customers. You can get the rebate forms at boardofwatersupply.com/rebates, or you can send me an email and I will send you the form directly. I did just want to quickly touch on the Honolulu 311 that TJ has mentioned. It's also on the internet, so if you don't want to have the app, it's totally fine. Just Google it. And it also applies to all city departments. So if you find one hydrant that's broken or you get one leak, just go into the 311 and plug it in and it'll send an alert to BWS. You can send it for the parks, the HPD, HFD, any city department. So use it, it goes through the mayor's office, they see it, and then they route it to us. And in the order of efficiency, I won't take any questions. I'm just kidding, I'll take anything back.
Good thing I wasn't facing the camera. I was like, no. Questions from the board? Any questions from the board for BWS? Okay. Virtually, any questions for the board, for board members, Erin or Dean? Okay, hearing none from the community in Wahiawa. Any questions for BWS? And virtually, any questions for BWS? Okay, bada bing, bada boom, you're good.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, Nicole. The next item on our agenda is the State Department of Transportation. I just want to state that we will be scheduling a presentation from the Hawaii Department of Transportation, and hopefully in March, if not the following. But they are working on that, and we are looking to confirm that for one of our next presentations on that. Okay. Moving on to residents' concerns and community announcements. I have 2 that I'm just going to make. And if there's enough time, we can open it up. But one is from one of our community members, Banner Fanene. He's unable to make it tonight, but he did send in testimony and concerns, several, just real quickly, and we'll look into it and get back to him, to Banner, and also at our next meeting. But he wanted to know about Achieve Zero. That was the homeless service provider that closed, wanted to know what the status of that moving forward, and also wondering if there's another nonprofit homeless service provider that will come in to fill their position. Also wanting to know what will happen to their headquarters on Mango Street. And Banner was also active with the annual homeless point in time count, so he has a good report on that. And also about nonprofits, the volunteers at the count that stated there is a new nonprofit organization. So again, we'll follow up and get back to Banner on that, and then also for the community at our next meeting. The last one is coming in from the installation, our community installation of poles. This is for the Hawaiian Electric, and I'm not going to read them all, so I'm just going to read you because they're going to be installing 50 new utility poles will be installed or replaced in the following locations. I'm not going to give you the exact address. I'm just going to tell you, if you live in these areas within the next couple of months, Hawaiian Electric will be installing new poles or replace the poles. So if you live on California Avenue, Laniloa Place, Mie Place, Lilihua Road, Karsten Drive, Ames Street, Royal Palm Drive, Glen Avenue, Dole Road, Local Drive, Nanea Avenue, Iliwai Drive, Uluvehi Street, California Avenue, Ho'olulu Road, Valea Street, Valea Uka Place, and Iliwai Drive. So again, 50 new poles will be installed or replaced on those streets. Just wanted to report on that. So if you see anything happening within the next couple of months. Any other brief announcements to be made for community concerns?
Chair, I was
Yes, go ahead.
given one from a community member that attended tonight, but he had to leave. And he wants to know, what is the city ordinance on gas powered generators? Like if they're using it on a construction site, and is there a time when it is supposed to be shut off? He just left his name here, and I'll try to give you his phone number.
Okay,
I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure there is. But I also wanted to share with regards to what resident Banner Fanene said. There is a new nonprofit that is providing services similar to that of Achieve Zero, and that is Ke'alaho West Oahu. They are on the Partners in Care website. And if you call the Governor's Office on Homelessness, and I don't have that number with me, but if you reach out to the Governor's Office, they do have contact information for Ke'alaho West Oahu. Thank you.
Thank you, Tijan. Actually, I've worked with Calaho on the West Oahu side, so it's nice that they're expanding. That's good.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Mandy. I'm from Calaho, West Oahu.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hi, Mandy.
Hi. So I have a phone number for you folks. It is 808-745-7880. And that is a phone line where you guys can submit any community concerns or addresses of encampments that you guys would want us to visit and start services. But we are out there on a monthly plan, 5 days a week, anywhere from Hollywood to North Shore. So yeah, feel free to give me a call. That's my direct line.
Okay. Thank you very much. And nice to hear about your organization. It was a few years ago, we did a major cleanup with, I don't, probably 10 trucks were out there. It was a week-long event that we did. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, I'm going to repeat your number for everyone. It's 808-745-7880.
Correct.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And is there another hand up?
Yes, hi, Chair. This is
Hi,
Chris
Chris.
Bailey, Leeward Community College, Wahiawa Valley Added Product Development Center.
Hi, Chris.
Just wanted to send a quick update to the group. You might have drove down California Avenue, noticed that ugly black construction fabric's down. The building is looking great. Construction's almost complete. So we'll be following up soon with more information for our official launch event. So just want to put that out there, and myself and the team will be providing more information in the near future.
Great. Thank you very much, Chris. Keep us updated on that. It'll be exciting to see the final. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other announcements? Dean?
Two quick announcements, ma'am. Madam Chair, I'd like to announce that the Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ, or the Mormon Church in Wahiawa, up on the Heights, will be having an emergency preparedness event on the 30th of March, starting at 9 a.m. and until 3. They will also have a ham radio for those amateur radio operators, an event same day, the 30th of March, starting at 8 a.m. till 3 p.m. And the second one is that this year's Lay Queen selection and court will be held on Saturday, March 2nd, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Mission Memorial Auditorium in downtown Honolulu. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. All good stuff. Exciting. And then we have one more announcement.
It's concern.
Oh, concern. Sure. If you can introduce yourself.
Yep, my name is Aina Iglesias. I actually grew up here on South King Street, behind the Hongwanji. I work for the Hawaii Nurses Association. I am also a Rep Peruso's former student at Milani High School and Miss Cook's former student from Kipapa Elementary. I remember you're the coolest toys in your office. I'm not, I know, I went to Mililani.
Creator.
I rep the nurses at Wahiawa General Hospital, and there was just a bunch of concerns that have come up. I know there is a presentation, and I have pointed questions for after, but I just wanted to bring up concerns prior to that presentation. In the last town hall that my nurses were a part of, the Queen's representative mentioned, issues of, yeah, sorry, really, it will be brief. Issues of mold, asbestos and lead in paint. And they've been aware of this for the longest time, Wahiawa and Queens, and just letting the community know that those exist at Wahiawa General now, and that nothing has been done about them. And also concerns about when Wahiawa is closing, there's not going to be any inpatient beds, and they're relying on transports. And the nurses are concerned about if Queens is equipped and have enough staff and vehicles to transport the patients, because there is a high traffic of community members here in Wahiawa and even out to Wailua and the communities around that rely on Wahiawa for those services. So that's my concerns. Aina Iglesias.
Cherry
All
Shikawa.
all valid, and hopefully we'll get to it so we can get those questions answered.
Chair, just
Wait,
one
yes, go ahead.
announcement.
Yep.
I would be remiss, and my orchid buddies would not like me, but if I forgot to announce that the Kunia Orchid Show will this year be at Lelehua High School on Friday and Saturday, March 22nd and 23rd. And big mahalo out to Athletic Director Nolan Tukuda and his staff at Lelehua High School for allowing the Kunia Orchid Show to be held in the gymnasium this coming March 22nd and 23rd, starting at 9 a.m. on both days. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, T. That's great that it's back at the high school. Very good. Come. Thank you. Nice to see you again.
So my name is Winona, and I was asked by CT in regards to, was there a follow-up about the list on the bridge that a lot of us from the bridge that's coming from Whitmore to Wahiawa?
Yeah,
So it's always been tabled, and so do we have a?
So the most recent conversation I had with DOT is we are trying to schedule a presentation. So hopefully we can get that, get updated information from that time.
Okay.
So yeah, so hopefully it'll be in the March agenda. If not, then the next one.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Okay, any other announcements, quick announcements? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to our presentation. So rules of decorum, everyone. All participants at this meeting shall extend the spirit of aloha to one another. There shall be no displays of disrespect to one another. Public comments can be made within the stated time limits and without interruption unless the comments are offensive and or out of order and are not conducive to civil discourse. So again, we want to be very, fair to everyone and polite, and let's just get work together to figure out what's going on. So at this time, our presentation is an update on the Wahiawa General Hospital. Brian Cunningham, CEO of Wahiawa General Hospital, and I believe there may be a staff member from Queens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good to see you all. Thank you, board members and community members, and of course, our representatives. We're at about day 36 now until the planned transfer of ownership from Wahiawa General to Queens Health Systems, 1201 on April 2nd. I'll be brief before I introduce our friends and the leadership from Queens. You all know how Wahiawa General Hospital has struggled for more than a decade now. And over the years, you've seen services closed, you've seen buildings closed, you've seen loss of staff. Wahiawa General, because of its financial position, did not have a sustainable pathway forward. And in fact, had it not been for such a mission-focused organization and group of leaders over at Queens stepping forward to partner with Wahiawa General, we would have closed our doors over a year ago. So I can tell you how excited we are as an organization overall and our board members to be partnering with Queens, such a mission-focused organization, to partner with the hospital as well as to partner with the community in moving healthcare services forward. Now, of course, there's going to be a transition of sorts, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But from being part of the meetings and being part of some of the planning and the vision that's going on, I can tell you that the future is bright for the healthcare services in Central Oahu North Shore. And I'm really thrilled for the community. With that said, I think I'd like to just introduce and pass it over to our friends and leaders from Queens. I know that's the questions you want to put forward. So who we have tonight is Darlena Chadwick. You might remember her from a previous meeting. She's the Vice President, Chief Operating Officer of the Queens Health Systems. And we also have Robin Kiloilani. She's the VP of Operations and Associate Chief Nursing Officer over at Queens Medical Center, West Oahu. With that, I'd like to turn it over to our Queens leadership for their update and, of course, any questions you may have.
Thank you, Brian.
Hi, this is Darlena. Just wanted to give you an update. As Brian stated, we're a little over a month out of transition and want to assure the community that we are looking at every avenue we can to continue the services that are being provided. We do plan to never stop the emergency services. That is priority for us. So we will continue emergency services. We are looking at how do we design and build some beds within the existing area that we're still in the design phase of that. We have an architect on board. So we're hoping we can move forward with that shortly after the transition. That will take time. We also know that inpatient beds, everyone's talking about it. We know there's a shortage. So what we've done is we've opened the Alkahi Center, which is our command center. So we're able to do patient flow better, and we're going to be able to address the needs in real time. We'll be able to prioritize patients as they come in to make sure that we get them to the right level of care at the right place. So I know you have lots of questions, and Robin, I didn't know if you wanted to say anything, and then we'll take your questions.
Maybe just to thank the community for welcoming us on this transition. The staff and leadership at Wahiawa has been very gracious with us as we've been just going in there and exploring. We did do a town hall, which the nurse spoke about earlier, and really because we wanted to look for opportunities for transition of employment to see if there is positions in the Queens Health System that we could accommodate the inpatient nurses, because we knew that wasn't going to be a space not in service at the beginning when we do the transition. But luckily, majority of all the emergency room staff have applied in. So we're really thankful for that, because they know your community best, and we want to just be partnering with them to complement the services that the emergency room is doing. When she spoke a little bit about the transfers, that is a big importance to us. So we've been working with EMS to have a rig standing by with us so that we can seamlessly transfer patients over. Bed across the state is limited right now, so we're working a lot, like Darlena said, on just overall patient flow. I would just like to just say really briefly about, the hospital needed to evacuate several patients a couple weeks back. And even with limited resources and beds at the time, Queens was able to pull some patients over. So it's with that spirit that we're going into this endeavor, knowing that we're putting the patients first here with everything that we do. So just we welcome any questions. And for the outpatient services also, we're trying to do some direct access with some of the community providers. We have a couple meetings coming up this Thursday to see if we can get those patients into imaging or follow-up appointments that are still on this side of the island. Might be a little bit of a travel to get there, but we're looking at all these avenues and want to always put the patients first. So that's all I got, but happy to answer any questions.
Hold on, stand by. So first of all, to Brian, Robin, Darlene, thank you very much. I know it's late evening and I know you folks have long days, but thank you so much for being here with us. We definitely appreciate what Brian had stated earlier. We need the hospital. So, that's number one. It has to be here, and not just for Wahiawa, but surrounding areas, especially North Shore. That's a distance for that. But I'm not going to keep talking. I want to open it up, but I just want to make sure you know that we appreciate what you guys are doing. We do have concerns, but please work with us or let us work with you to figure out ways that we can do to keep the hospital open, moving forward, and finding new ways in employment or whatnot. But it can be a positive thing. There are going to be some difficult moments, some dark moments I can anticipate, but at the same time, we are looking forward. So at this time, I'm going to open it to our board, and that's Joe. Go ahead.
Just a couple of quick questions. First of all, what are you going to call the hospital? Is it going to remain Wahiawa General, or is it going to be Queens something?
Yes, it'll be the Queens Medical Center, Central Oahu.
Thank you. My other question is, exactly what outpatient services are you going to be providing immediately
will,
as opposed to long term?
Oh, I'm sorry. I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Say that again.
Short term versus long term.
Okay, yes. So short term, what we plan to do, like I said, the priority is our ED to make sure the emergency room has every service it needs, like x-ray, ultrasound, making sure we have the CT working in proper order. So that'll be our first priority and our first phase. And as I talked about, we're looking at the design to see how we can add things on because we want the community to be served. So, and we're going out and going to be doing some listening sessions just to find out what the community needs and wants. So we're anticipating that in the second phase of this, that we'll be able to offer some outpatient services. So for example, mammo, we know that mammo is needed for the community. So we'll be able to bring that back and really look at how do we design it for the women and the services right there in your community. And this is one of the things in the second phase that we're also looking at is what are all the services? So is it primary care? Is it specialty care? Is it that we need an MRI? Do we need a CT, freestanding? So we'll be looking at a careplex model for the community, but we don't want to define what you need. We need to listen and hear what you need. So we don't have any plans that are just like our preconceived notion of what you need. So we want you to tell us what you need.
Thank you for bringing up the subject of mammo. That's a long-term thing this community is concerned about a long time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, June.
So I know that at Schofield Barracks, they've done away with their emergency room and they rely on the emergency room here in Wahiawa. Has anybody thought about trying to get some federal dollars because of the additional patients that come from Schofield? Because if they have an incident, if they got to respond quickly, they send them here, right? Am I
Yes.
not correct?
No, you are correct. And we did go and meet with the military at Schofield. We wanted to get to know the community. Like I said, we're getting out there trying to understand the needs. So we did meet with the military, and they actually had some good ideas on how we could partner on different exercises together. So if there was a mass casualty, any type of emergency services, but we
Has
did
anybody
not talk
thought
about a
about
grant.
Oh,
So I
sorry.
would love to talk about funding. Yes. So that has not happened yet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And yes, TJ.
Couple quick questions. You mentioned the Alpaca Center. What is that?
Alkahi, yes.
I'm sorry, Alpaki.
So it's Alkahi and
Alkahi.
yes, sorry. I have a Southern accent. I've been here for 26 years, but it's still here. So it's really looking at what we did is we have a big room of panels. And what it does, it shows us every single bed in the state. So we're able to look at neighbor islands. We're able to look at the Mana campus. We're able to look at the West campus. We're able to see what beds are open and how we can move patients faster. It also connects us, and the governor has some ideas on how we can better utilize it with our EMS partners as well. So what it does, it shows transparently what's available, how fast we can get it. If there's a dirty bed at West, we know from looking at the command center tiles that that bed is dirty. We need to get it cleaned. We need to turn it around fast. So it's really a command center is what we're calling it.
Okay, thank you. And just two more quick questions. I'll give them to you. You can answer them. What protections will be provided for our existing workforce? And also these long-term commitments that the Queens Health Corporation is making, where can we see these commitments in writing?
So we don't know what you need yet. So once we know, then we'll involve you in the actual architectural drawings of what we're going to build, what we're going to do, and all of that will be clearly transparent. We'll be able to bring that to one of the board meetings and share that with you. Once again, we don't know what you need yet, but once we do, there's nothing that we would hide from anyone. And in fact, I would want your opinion so you can tell us you got it right or you didn't get it right. And we want that feedback. We want that input. We need the community to tell us. So there is nothing that we wouldn't share with you. And as far as the staff are concerned, to Robin's point, we've been out there. We are happy to say that we've had lots of applicants and lots of offers made. So, and we've also opened up any inpatient nurse that needs a position. We have openings at West. We have openings at our clinics. We have openings at our urgent care centers and at Mana. And depending on where someone lives is where they're going to want to go.
Great, thank you. I look forward to future discussions. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any other questions, board member Tier? And we're going to go to questions. Any questions from our board members virtually, Erin or Dean? And then I'll have a couple of questions to ask. Erin or Dean, any questions?
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, ladies. Thank you for coming out. Quick couple of questions for you. One is regarding the concerns that Ina had brought up, that Wahiawa Hospital was built, like you well know, even like how Queens Hospital was, back in the days when asbestos was used as a retardant for fireproofing and stuff like that. During the construction, what safety factors are you folks going to be taking for the staff that's still going to be there? Please put that somewhere in your presentation to us next time. Secondly, I'm really, really bothered by the thing that you're going to change our name. Wahiawa Hospital was established before World War II. It has been established back to the days when we were a plantation town, established by Dole and Del Monte. And, Queen Emma had founded the hospital for a purpose to serve Native Hawaiian people. And I believe it's still in your clause that indigents, Native Hawaiians who are indigent, still are to receive actually free of charge medical care. So I would really push the issue with you folks. If you guys can talk to the administrators that are beyond your control to try and incorporate Wahiawa General into the name of Queens Medical System. You know, that's so important to this community. Anybody knows that once you leave Wahiawa and you go out towards the North Shore, the next stop is Kahuku or Kaneohe hospitals. But to be the crown here in the center of Oahu, it really would be important to keep that word Wahiawa General at least. So that's my point on this, and I do appreciate you folks taking that back and addressing it. Thank you. Mahalo.
Thank you, Dean. Erin, any questions?
Not at this time, just looking forward to a modern hospital.
Thank you, Erin. I think we are looking for good things. So I'll just ask a couple questions if you don't mind, and either of the ladies can respond. I just wanted to know when you're talking about there are a lot of applications, what is a lot of it? Are the applicants from Wahiawa General? Are they from other areas? And are they applying for positions at the hospital, or are they applying, you mentioned it, to other, like Queens West and whatnot? I mean, what is the breakdown or the mix? What is the anticipation of the current employees of what will happen to them?
I'll let Robin.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the existing ED, the emergency department, I would say we had approximately 70 positions that range from nursing, emergency room techs, admissions, imaging modalities there, and some EVS cleaning, which I would think about maybe 80% of that was Wahiawa staff coming over. It might be a little bit more. We're still finalizing some offers. When they came in, it was a compressed timeline. So some people are still, like, offers are going to go out. So they're still in the queue. So we got majority of all the nursing on for that area. For the inpatient areas and nurse aides, we have lots of openings at West and Mana Punch Bowl campus. And so that was a little harder to track because they could apply into multiple different positions. And we don't really have a mechanism to say, like, if they were coming over, but we have lots of openings. So I tried to manually track a few of those just because I was curious, because I wanted to, like, bring over the nurses. So that was a little bit harder. So we're hoping that after that, we can kind of shake everything off afterwards and see how many did we still provide jobs to. So we're working on that right now.
Okay, thank you. So that's a pretty good breakdown. 80%, you're saying, so that's 80% of current employees could have a possibility of remaining at Wahiawa General.
Mm-hmm.
The ED area.
In the ED
yeah, the
area.
emergency room, yeah, which was a much more scaled down area. So it was kind of hard because it went from inpatient, where you had a lot of FTEs and staff there. So that's the ones that we were, like, really kind of worried about, making sure that they had a place to funnel into. Emergency department, on the other hand, we were just hoping that they all want to stay and come over to Queens. So that looked really good also when we were kind of going through the list.
Okay, thank you for that. And I'll come back to you with a couple other questions, but I'm going to go back to, I'm going to open it to our community here in Wahiawa, and then we'll go virtually. So if you can introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Arlene. My husband currently works in the hospitality or the cleaning janitorial department there. He doesn't give me much details, but he said that the CEO was going to help them reapply for their jobs. And he hasn't told me if that has occurred yet. So we don't know at this point. So when do you think he should know that he if he does reapply, like when are the deadlines to reapply for the job and then to get rehired? When will we know so that I will know when he's out of a job, if that happens?
So I would say, so if that was my husband, I would say go on the Queen's website, have him go on there and apply for any of the hospitality openings that are at any campus right now, so that he is secure, because it's not really reapplying, it's applying in to another organization. So he needs to do that step. So you might want to.
Well, he told me
guide
that the
him.
CEO, they were going to, the administrative staff was going to help them, assist them on a computer, because he's kind of
Oh,
not
I
savvy.
see, I see, I see.
To help him, but he said no. Why he was the CEO said he's going to get the computers and we're going to help us to get online to reapply. So I don't understand, how could there be a position open when it's already filled right now by the workers there? I don't know how big the hospitality or the janitorial staff is, maybe 12 people. So, but I know he's very busy in the ER room, because he says, bang, 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 they got to get it cleaned up for the next patient, bang, bang, bang. And so he says when whoever works the ER is really constantly busy. But does that mean that staff is going to get shrunk? So I don't know if so, is that going to happen with that? They're going to get people to help them to reapply for the job, or you have to do it on his own?
Could I step in on that one, please?
Yeah, please, Brian.
Yeah, sure. And so the statement was, yes, that the organization is going to provide that help with people with application process. And we're doing that in collaboration with the union representatives and also the state through the Dislocated Workers Department. They came and spoke at recent union meetings, I believe, to the hospitality staff, and they will be coming. Our human resource department is about to set up meetings for them to come out and sit one-on-one with staff to do that. So yes, we are in the process of that. So I appreciate your question.
So Brian, just real quick question. So when you say that there will be assistance for the applicants, to help them fill out the form, and that you're also working with the union and also working with the state regarding displaced employees. I think the question is, when are positions being filled? I mean, people are already applying, and are the others going to be filling in their applications later as you're organizing that? Or, I mean, does it hamper their opportunity, I guess, is the question.
Well, I think what you're alluding to is, when is that going to happen? Because time is going forward. Yes, and that is an issue. And, as I think Robin said, we've been letting people know to please look and apply. If somebody is not comfortable with the program at this point, if they go to our human resources department, we will help them. We will do the best we can. We've been telling people what's going to happen and working with the timelines of the state, the union representatives. But if somebody needs help and they want to apply now, they see something, as Robin said, on the Queen's website that they want to apply for, if they go to our human resources department, we will do our best to walk them through that process and help them with that until such a time when the state comes out.
Thank you very much. And then we have another question.
Thank you. Hi, Brian.
Hello, Ina. Good to see you.
So I just actually want to call out Queens, because a lot of things being mentioned here are not true, or not very true. They said earlier that with TJ's question, that there's nothing that they would hide from anyone, that we can tell them our opinion, and they need the community to tell them our opinions. We've actually been trying to meet and reach out to Queens. I work for the Hawaii Nurses Association. I represent the nurses at Wahiawa General Hospital. I've also spoken to ILWU and UPW representatives that represent the ancillary workers at Wahiawa, and they said that they also have had minimal conversations or communications from Queens. So no, we have not heard much, and there's not anything that they're telling us, and they've kept pretty much everything under the rug this entire time until just last month, when we actually, it's still February. So this month, when we learned that they've already closed the waitlist units, which a bunch of people work in. It's one of the units. They're not taking any more patients. So a lot of the nurses are already out of the jobs or other staff. The other thing is they said that Queens was promising a smooth, even here, they would mention that a smooth transition for the employees into the Queens health systems. But what we are learning is that a lot of our staff are getting rejection letters without even being interviewed. And these are people who are qualified and have been doing these jobs for so many years, yet they're getting rejection letters without interviews. So Robin, from what you were saying earlier, 80% of the 70 positions will be former Wahiawa employees. What do you plan to do with the rest of the employees? They're waiting. A lot of them are Filipino immigrants that don't know how to apply for these for jobs because they've been in Wahiawa for 20, 30 years. What kind of assistance do you plan on providing them? Since that's what you said that's what you want to do is a smooth transition, but we're not seeing that.
Yeah, I want to comment on the auto rejection letters that went out, and it kind of was a clunky system on our side when the positions were getting through. It was just kind of auto generating out some of those rejection letters that really it shouldn't have went out because we were still in the process of interviewing. So as soon as we heard that was going on, we tried to stop it until all of the applicants or positions were filled. Because it is going to be a scaled down department, it's going to be tough if we can't hire every single person on. So we do want to make it a seamless transition, but if there isn't a position, I think that's where we're looking at, and we're still hiring, but that's where we would lean on Brian to see, like, what do you have in place? Because we have positions open. We'd love to bring them over. We've given out like QR codes, anything to try and make it simpler. I would say that Brian said that he offered some elbow support for people who are not proficient in just kind of doing resumes or going online. We could also get our recruitment team to like set up a desk or something with a computer to have people like at least get them in the system to apply for jobs over. So I would still extend that out if that was necessary. We would just have to get Darlena and the team to kind of like help get some boots on the ground out there. So that's still on the table if Ryan them want to take that up. So.
And Brian, if you do want us to come out and help, we're more than happy to do so.
Thank you.
I have follow-up questions on that. So the waitlist units and the med tele units are the units that are closing. Those are the inpatient units. And I understand you mentioned earlier that there are openings at Queens West and the Queens Punch Bowl for med surg and telemetry positions. But are you going to give preference to those nurses that have lost jobs at Wahiawa General?
We're an equal opportunity employer, so we have to interview anyone and everyone who applies that meets the qualifications of a job. So we hope we have the right fit with the individual. We can't say we guarantee anyone a job. We have a process, a background check. We have, other steps that an employee will have to go through. So I honestly can't guarantee a job and say you will have a job no matter what. We have lots of openings and we want everyone, to Robin's point, we want anyone and everyone who wants to be a part of our team to please do so. We do not want to see anyone without a job. That is the last thing we want. but we will have to interview. We will have to have people apply.
Okay, and will you work with the unions, the 3 unions that are present in there? Because we haven't received much communication, so that's why I'm here in the neighborhood board to try to reach out to you folks, because I have not heard anything. I've tried so many ways, so many times, and someone's wife is here trying to figure out what to do with her husband's employment. And these are the kinds of people that I represent also. So please work with the unions. We need to hear back from you folks.
And Chair, I guess just to follow up on that, Ms. Iglesias, it really saddens my heart to know that the Queens Medical Corporation or Queens Health Corporation is not working with the unions. This community member has to come to a neighborhood board meeting to get answers from the union because they're not getting responses any other way. So I would implore you to please, now that you've been asked, to please reach out and work with the unions there, because this hospital is as much a part of our community as DOTS has been, as the Wahiawa District Pool has been. So we would again implore you to please reach out to the community, reach out to the unions and work with them. And if you need be, Brian, you are welcome to share my contact information with these ladies, because you know where I stand on this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
Hi. We're really happy Queens is coming out here, so thank you. I'm just a little confused because I thought Hawaii had a nurses shortage. So shouldn't there be jobs for everybody?
Yes, absolutely. That's what we're saying. We have jobs at Mana campus. We have jobs in our clinics. We have jobs at West Oahu. We have jobs. So what needs to happen is they just need to go and put in the application and apply. And then we can do the process and interview.
Madam Chair, point of information,
Yes,
please.
go ahead, Dean.
For our board members' information, the word Mana, that was the original name of Queens Hospital site. That property was originally owned by King Kalakaua's father, Kapa'akea. And the Queens Medical Center in the 60s changed the name from Mana to Queens Medical Center to its current name. And that's just a tidbit for you. Thank you.
That's very good information, Dean. Thank you for the background. Any other questions for our guests from Queens Medical Center? Virtually, any other questions for our Queens Medical Center, Wahiawa? I want to say Wahiawa General Hospital, but any other questions? It really is a heartbreaker. I have to agree with Dean, but I understand. I mean, because I do have a few follow-up questions, but anyone else virtually, any other questions before I do a closing statement?
Good luck, ladies.
Okay, hearing
Thank
none.
you.
For our guests, thank you again for being here. Brian, for organizing it. Ladies, for being here. You know, it is a tough job to report on work opportunities. I can relate to all that as well as what you heard from our guests here. So I want to ask if we can find agreement tonight on a few things, just for clarification. Number one is, because there was a problem with the auto rejection letters, was an apology letter ever sent out so that they know that they really weren't rejected, that was in error? Was that sent out? And if it wasn't, can that apology letter be sent out?
Robin,
For
I don't
any
know the
o-
answer.
Yeah, I would say for what they did is they called anybody who got one to try to move them in. If they weren't listed in two different positions, they were making contact with individuals as soon as we heard it. So if there's anyone that is still out there, we could kindly send something over. We just, at this point, wouldn't be able to track all of that because we stopped it and then we tried to move on them knowing that, wait, you still have an interview coming.
Okay. I'm hoping, I understand that, but I'm hoping that there is clarity in that so that someone doesn't miss out an opportunity. So whether you're able to resend to those that didn't get a letter or whatnot, but just to make sure that, because it gets a little murky, right? And
right.
You don't want it to be where someone then says, or to the union says, well, I never got that letter or no one called me back or whatnot. But I just want to make sure that we're all crossing our I's and, crossing our T's and dotting our I's. Yes, Brian.
Madam Chair, Queens also sent us a memo or a FAQ explaining the situation. And we did immediately share that out in an all staff, all board, all physician memo. So we appreciated the explanation. We did share that out.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So I'll check that off. The assistance with applications, can we confirm, I know you're working on that, but can we confirm that so that those who need that assistance, whether they have to make appointments with you, I don't know how it's a scheduling thing, but again, I know you're on a tight timeline, but I think more so because of the tight timeline that, to set up those opportunities to have assistance to fill out applications will help these individuals to have some sense of, there's a process, there's a movement, any kind. I think that would be for anybody who's looking for work or wants to remain at Wahiawa or any place, that to help them with that, because they have to have that paperwork submitted, right? So if that can be done, that would be of a commitment on that and can be done, then that would be great.
So Brian, you let us know if you want us there, and I will commit that we will be there.
Thank you. We'll do it. It's a priority for us. We'll check on the
Thank you
state
for that
help,
too.
the union help, but
I would recommend that, yes, somebody from Queens HR or Queens leadership should set up an office now at Wahiawa General.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you. And that
Brian,
was
if
my-
you're
that was my-
okay with that, we will be there.
Thank you. We'll get
And-
offline with that and arrange that.
Okay, and Robin, we can work out some dates because I know one date won't work for everyone, so we should do a couple of different times and different dates.
Yes, I agree on that. Different dates and different times so people, find out what works for them. So we're doing good. We're
Absolutely.
2 for 2. Thank you very much. I just got a couple more. I think the next message, because it seemed to me that there was miscommunication or just blurry, but I think the emphasis has to be made, or whether it's via letter or postings, but people have to apply. That's my understanding. You have to apply. So if you're waiting, don't wait yet. Okay, very good. Yeah, but so there's 2 things going on now. So one is you just heard that they are committing to set up, but at the same time, if you guys want to get started to sit, just make sure you get an application in, right? You hear me, right? Okay, so we're all good on that. That's number 3. Okay, we're knocking it out of the park, guys. Very good. Number 4, and this is a 3-parter. The request to work with the unions. I think I want to say, and I don't mean to be rude or anything, but I think that's a no-brainer. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the process. And it's not just for WGA, it's at any union company, whether it's you're in construction or whatnot, when things change, there's always got to be that dialogue with the union. So I think again, if we're on a tight timeline, I think that reach out has to happen. And I think that it was great to have someone here to explain to us, because we assume, right, and we shouldn't assume. And so I think together, she's here, we're here as a board, you folks are there, we can all figure this out, right? And so
Yes, and Madam Chair, we will absolutely, we work with our unions. We consider our unions our partner.
Correct.
So that is, you said it, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, okay, and that's 3. So you got your H&A, you got IOW, and you got UPW, right? So, and I'm sure if you need their numbers, that can be provided as well. But thank you very much. I think this is a good start. I'm hoping maybe we can have you come back again next month if that's possible, because
Okay.
I'm sure within a
Yes.
month you have more information. And if we know that for sure, then I will definitely have a shorter agenda with less announcements and stuff on that, so that we can have more time and not be rushed, and have you on earlier on the agenda, because I know it's late and you guys have a lot going on. So we do apologize for that, but thank you very much.
No,
I think
thank you so much for having us. And we will be there next month. And maybe we could even, hopefully we'll have some drawings that we could
Oh, that'd be
share.
super. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you come in
We're-
person, you mean, would you be coming in person to do a presentation or
We
virtual?
could. Whatever you prefer.
Okay, we'll get back
I
to you
think
on
in
that.
person would be great for us to come up to the next one. We want to be a part of the community. So when I was watching everybody talk, I kept telling myself, like, we're going to that the next time.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we have a pretty good board, so thank you very much. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap it
One
up.
more comment, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Over here.
Over here, Chair.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
not
hi,
very
over here,
good.
Chair. So I think overall, just kind of like when we were talking about the statistics of, how many employees applied and, not sure of who applied or who didn't, or what positions or vacancies were filled in the Queen system. I'd recommend you having like really tight statistics on that to track like one for one, what employee applied where and like what placement got placed or didn't get placed. And then if you could report back on that, because I think that would make it very clear to everyone, if, I have HR background, so for the employees that are, there should be like a letter of intent or something, for each of the employees within Wahiawa General Hospital of, what they're going to be doing, or at least have an idea of what they're doing. Yeah, right. And I'm just saying to have an idea, like to make sure that each of the employees at Wahiawa General have had the opportunity to say that, I do want to apply or I don't want to apply. So then if they're saying that they do want to apply, then they can go through that process, ensure that they're not missed, kind of thing. So yeah, that's all.
Brian, I would lean on you a little bit to help with that, because we don't know all the employees at this point. We only see what comes into the Queen's system. And like to Robin's point, we handed out the cards and the QR codes. Maybe there's some way we could work together to track and say, here's our list of employees and here's how many applied.
Yeah, each week we remind people about the application process and we share the QR code document every single week since you all put it out. And yeah, we could work on that, but as you guys have mentioned, and the gentleman being in HR knows, it's a little bit challenging. It's Queen's hiring process. It's a confidential process. We don't necessarily know who's applied for what, and some people may not have applied for whatever reason. So it's hard, they can only eventually maybe track how many people applied and what percentage got jobs. So there's going to be that subset that chose to not apply for whatever reason. So it's a little bit of a messy set of statistics to bring forward, but we'll do our best.
Chair, I just have two quick comments.
Okay, go ahead.
So to Brian, Robin, and Darlene, I think I would offer my services to help coordinate a community meeting separate from the neighborhood board meeting, because it seems like this is an issue that should be given more than just 20 minutes and as an agenda item on our neighborhood board meetings. While we do appreciate your presence here tonight, I think that if we had something that was specifically for this, I would be happy to coordinate that. And then also, will you folks be presenting at the North Shore Neighborhood Board or at the Ko'olauloa Neighborhood Boards as well? It does affect both of those communities.
I don't think we're on the agenda for those boards, but that's a good point that we should be. And to your point, as far as arranging a community session, we would love that. We have our Native Hawaiian department has already reached out and has scheduled several listening sessions. And that's something we want to do in the community to find out, to my point in the very beginning, what services are needed, what services are wanted, and how Queens can serve this community. But I will take you up on that.
I look forward
think
to
that's
getting your contact information.
yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. How do I give you my information?
I'll just give you my phone number right now, 808
Okay.
238 9427. It's been my number since 1984. So if you don't already have it by now, here's your opportunity.
Got it.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Dean.
Real quick, ladies, if you know, just thinking and looking over your folks' history, where your folks referred to the Queens Medical Center as Mana Mana, it's the original name. You say Queens West, which was originally St. Francis West. So something like Wahiawa General / or comma Queens Medical Hospital. You know, that can be very, Wahiawa should be incorporated into its name some way, Wahiawa General. And I really do appreciate that. And thank you for bringing up your Native Hawaiian focus point, because it is important that our community is full of Native Hawaiians as well as other people that have moved here, being the plantation town we were. And, you know, you look over your 4 goals, the 4 points that the Queen Emma had strived to keep and modify, and you folks have fulfilled that for years, for centuries. And I appreciate that as a Native Hawaiian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. I think we're good to wrap up for tonight. And I just want to say thank you again. A big mahalo for all the time that you are giving us, working with us. We all look forward to the next, you know, what's coming in the next several months. So stand by, we'll be here. So anyway, thank you very much on behalf of our Wahiawa Whitmore Village Neighborhood Board and the community. We had a big turnout virtually, so I think you had a lot of interested people.
Chair,
Thank you.
excuse me, did I see some hands up virtually? I thought I saw 1 or 2.
I
up
see
there.
Raquel.
Oh yeah, Raquel.
I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
saw that one.
Okay, Raquel, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. We
Yes.
missed you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to TJ's point. I am the vice chair for the North Shore Neighborhood Board. I would strongly recommend that you reach out to Chair Kathleen Pahinui to make arrangements to get on our agenda. The status of the hospital obviously is critical to our North Shore community, and also Ko'olauloa. Although they do have Kahuku Hospital, there are still some impacts to them centrally. So I would respectfully ask that you reach out to Kathleen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other? No, that was it. Thank you, Raquel. I'm sorry, Michelle.
I'd like to add Mililani to that list to reach out to their board too.
I believe we do have, Robin, wasn't that the email we got today to reach out to Mililani? Yes, they did request.
Okay, very good then. Okay. Anything? Yeah, I think we're good. One more time, thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate your time and look forward to working with all of you. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to our the rest of our agenda. We'll try to get through it quickly. We're on items section 8, elected officials. I know Kevin is on virtually.
Hello, Chair. Aloha, board members and new board members. Chair, I've actually got quite a bit because it was a bit of follow-up from the last meeting, but I'll try to get through it as quickly as I can, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
So the first things are, I guess, this month's highlights from the mayor's newsletter, how bright yellow rescue tubes are making our beaches safer. First responders jump into action during an emergency at January's city council hearing, and a new sculpture unveiled at Honolulu's Inaha Park. The mayor's newsletter can be found at oneoahu.org. Another announcement, the Honolulu Zoo's been nominated for Best Zoo in America by USA Today, their Best Reader's Choice Awards. It's the first time the zoo's been nominated. is a panel of industry experts selected the zoo as one of America's top 20 zoos to be in the running for the best zoo in the country. The voting started on February 5th, and members of the public are able to vote once a day, every day until March 4th at 6:59 a.m. Honolulu Standard Time. To vote for the Honolulu Zoo as best zoo in America, you can go to honoluluzoo.org and just follow the instructions there. At 5 o'clock this afternoon, there was a press release related to the zoo. Apparently, because the zoo's been so successful the last month or so, there's a scam going around where people are calling and asking you to buy tickets that are good for a year for zoo admission. And the zoo doesn't have any such ticket. They only sell tickets the date of admission. So it might be, helpful for people to know that. I have a couple announcements regarding bus service modifications. There was rider alert notices affecting a number of neighborhood boards, including Board 26, regarding Route 88A North Shore Express. That's the morning service from Pearl City, Mililani, Wahiawa, North Shore, Kaneohe, and Honolulu. Apparently, both morning trips will begin in Pearl City at bus stop number 492. It's at Kamehameha Highway and Acacia Road. The segment between Aiea and Pearl Street will be discontinued, but riders may use the westbound Route 51 Honolulu to Wahiawa at 3:56 a.m. The afternoon service, both trips will end at the Wahiawa Transit Center. The segment between the Wahiawa Transit Center and Honolulu will be discontinued. Riders may use eastbound Route 51 Honolulu to Wahiawa. These modifications will be effective March 3rd and alerts will be posted at affected bus stops, also on the website, the bus website, and they'll be distributed to affected schools. Full updated schedules will also be available on the bus website. And the Department of Transportation Services will continue to monitor and evaluate the bus system to address changes in service demand, productivity, and resource allocation. Should you have any questions, please contact the bus stop at honolulu.org. Those are the announcements. For the departmental issue follow-ups, the Wahiawa Elementary School crosswalk flooding at Glen Avenue. The Department of Design and Construction responded that they researched the existing drainage system at the location of Glen Avenue, and there were no drain pipes within the roadway, only catch basins, approximately 300 feet away from the crosswalk. Catch basins are connected to an outlet within the Wahiawa Botanical Gardens. To address this issue will require further drainage assessment and drainage improvement projects. The DDC will look at fiscal year 2026 drainage improvement projects lists and review the Glen Avenue drainage improvements among the project list priorities. DDC will have a clearer understanding of how to effectively implement these priorities once the Department of Facilities Maintenance's fiscal year 26 capital improvements program funding becomes available in July of 2025. Should this project not qualify for DFM's fiscal year 26 drainage improvements project list, it'll be prioritized on the next future project list. Please be aware that any funds are limited and emergencies can arise at any time, possibly deferring implementation of some of the projects on the priorities list. I can take questions now on this issue, or we can do it at the end, Chair, whatever you'd like, but I have a few of these to get through.
You can go through, finish up your report.
I'll just soldier on then. The safe pedestrian path at Ka'ala Elementary School. At the last meeting, board member Mendelson shared that she's been doing morning walks from Ka'ala Avenue to the elementary school and reported that a lack of sidewalks leads to absenteeism due to no school buses being available since they live within a mile radius of the school. We understand volunteers from the school come in early to walk the students around, but there's a concern that this is a dangerous situation because there are no sidewalks and cars are rushing to work. Board member Mendelson requested a safe pedestrian path. The Department of Design and Construction responded that the Kalani Avenue, California Avenue, and Mahele Street had been identified as part of the pedestrian priority network in the Oahu pedestrian plan dated July 2022. The DDC has a road resurfacing project that will include missing walkways on project streets prioritized within the PPN. As part of the rehabilitation of localized streets, Phase 17 project, the missing walkways along California Avenue between Kamehameha Highway and Oahe Street will be constructed with new concrete walkway and curb ramps, as well as along the Kalani Avenue and Ka'ala School Parkside between Mahele Street and Kalaponi Street. The project will also repair existing asphalt concrete walkways along Kalani Avenue and California Avenue located west of the Kamehameha Highway. The project is currently in the design phase and is anticipated to advertise for construction bids in the fall of 2024, subject to utility clearances and availability of funds. Also just wanted to make a note that Board Member Mendelson asked if the mayor could attend one of the safety walks. And I asked that question to the mayor's office, and my understanding is that there's a protocol for that. You can go to honolulu.gov/mayor, and on that site, there's actually a location where you can request the mayor come to a meeting. So we can follow up on that. Chair, I can send you more information on it if you like.
Sure, thank you.
But we did follow up on that. Traffic calming measures. Representative Peruso requested an update on traffic calming measures on Rose Street and Loco Drive at the top of California Avenue, which has two areas with 90-degree turns and the walkways along California Avenue above the high school. She mentioned that speeding is a common issue in this area. It was also, I guess, a question about what needs to be done to get speed bumps or other calming measures implemented on Rose Street and Loco Drive. The Department of Transportation Services took a look at that, and they responded that they recently conducted studies along Rose Street and Loco Drive, and the review of the area's traffic collision history did not find any trends related to speeding.
That was 3 years ago.
Pardon me?
That was 3 years ago.
Joe, can you let him finish his report?
Sure thing. I'll just get through and I guess we can address some more questions. Their traffic surveys also found that the majority of motorists are traveling near the posted speed limit. Therefore, the Department of Transportation Services does not recommend the installation of traffic calming measures at this time. However, they will be issuing a work order to install speed limit signs along Loco Drive for motorists traveling in the eastbound direction. DTS is presently conducting a study related to the California Avenue concerns and will inform the board of their findings by the August 2024 board meeting. Regarding the Wahiawa tennis courts, Board Member Harvest wanted to know the status of the tennis courts, I think number 3, number 4 at the district park, because the netting was down and he heard the Parks and Recreation was considering converting those courts to pickleball courts and requested an update on the plans. The Department of Parks and Recreation responded that the tennis courts were unfortunately vandalized, and the work is scheduled to have them repaired hopefully this week, February 28th. And the department has no plans to convert the courts to pickleball. Crisis Outreach Response and Engagement, the CORE program, was asked if the department that provides the CORE program to establish operations in Wahiawa, and when can we expect them to come out? And the Honolulu Emergency Services Department requested an extension of this item to the March board meeting. Legislative creation of a tag plate for off-road vehicles. Board Member Harvest also asked if the city would be able to look into having license plates for off-road vehicles such as ATVs, motorbikes, etc., to help the HPD identify registered owners of those off-road motor vehicles when someone is violating the law. For the Department of Customer Service, the challenge with this is that license plates are for vehicles that are allowed by law to be driven on public roadways, and it would be inconsistent to issue a license plate for vehicles that are not permitted to be on the road. Additionally, because Hawaii revised statutes dictates which vehicles are required to be licensed and registered, the categories of vehicles requiring license plates is outside the county's purview and would need to be acted on by the legislature. That's all I have. And I know I went through that quickly. I apologize.
No, you had a lot, and it's good information, but I'm going to hold if you don't mind, because we only have a couple things going on. So I'm going to go to our next
Of course, I'm here standing by.
agenda item, and then we'll come back if anybody has any questions. But so if you don't mind hanging out for a little bit, I just want to
Of
get the
course.
report in.
My pleasure.
Because we always end up being very late otherwise. Is Kelly around? Is Kelly on?
Can you guys hear me?
Hi, Kelly. Yes.
Hi. Hey,
If you can
so
give your
Kelly
report, I
Anaya?
just want to get all the reports in, and then we can go back for
Yeah,
questions.
sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Well, not a problem. Kelly Anaya from Councilmember Matt Wire's office. I'll be sending over the newsletter to what's her name? Rachel Cristobal.
Rachel.
So you'll have a copy of that. But I'll just kind of go over the follow-ups from last meeting. So looks like Mayor's Rep responded about the local drive and Rose Street's traffic study, so I'll skip that. The one thing I do have to add about the city tags and license plates for the off-road vehicles, we did send out, I guess for legal, I guess advice, if you will, from the city council legal OCS, and we're just waiting to see, I mean, what their response would be as far as licensing for ID purposes. But like Mayor's Rep responded, yeah, if you put a license on it, then they are legally allowed to be on the city road, which is something we probably wouldn't want anyway. Some of the updates for Avocado Street, like HPD reported, they are doing regular checks and have been offering services, but as you can see, they're always declined. The NOV that was issued has been turned over to the code compliance branch, which is now accruing daily fines as an NOO or notice of order. I did also reach out to the Department of Health. I'm still waiting to hear back from them regarding their findings. It was also asked if council member could repeal section Bill 43 from 2017. That is actually not going to be good public policy and would actually be a liability on the city, where the city would be going in to clear private residences for their stream maintenance. Also, the current city ordinance was pursuant to a state law back in 1986. So I don't know if it's kind of like a state thing that would need to be repealed. Also, somebody had mentioned about the pickleball courts. Yes, Wahiawa District Park will not be converted, but we actually, I believe it was during Councilmember Suniyoshi's time, we did put in a request to have the Ka'ala neighborhood park converted, and I believe they said they were going to. That was when board member Rodney Sanchez was a member, but as far as the timeline, I have not heard anything back from them. And then lastly, budget's coming up. So if anyone has any ideas or projects they want, we can try to get some funding in for, please reach out to our office. And that's it for me. If anyone has any questions for council member, I can take them now, or I guess later.
Kelly, I'm just going to ask you to hold if you don't mind, and I'm just going
Sure.
to, we just
No
have one
problem.
more because
problem.
Rosemary is not here tonight. So we're going to, so she's not here. So we're going to skip over to Senator's office. Is Aluri here?
Yes, hello?
Okay. Yes, go ahead. Can you do your report now?
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
just for updates from last board meeting, so looking into 525 Avocado Road, we're still looking into using state funds to acquire the land. In concern of the Royal Palm Drive treatment, the question was, is it the state's responsibility or the city and county's? As of right now, it is city and county's responsibility. And then moving on to a new agenda for the Civic Center construction going on California Avenue, I believe. The first slab for the state's office complex building that'll be home to new DHS, DOH, and CTAR offices was completed. And so this new building will also house Satellite City Hall as well as the new DMV. In terms of the agenda for Senator De La Cruz's office, I would like to redirect for time purposes to the state legislators website under Senator De La Cruz's page under news where highlight of his bills would be posted. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the first one you mentioned, the first item you read off?
525 Avocado Road. We are still looking into using state funds to acquire the land.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay, if you don't mind standing by for just a second, and we'll go and see if we have any questions, but I want to get our reports in. Is Representative Perosa there?
Right here.
Okay, thank you.
Aloha, Chair, board members, community. So really quickly, we are moving into the final weeks before crossover, and you know, I have emailed my newsletter to Rachel, and I think there are just a couple of issues that are super relevant to our community. The first is one of the bills on pesticides, because that really does impact safety, public health in our community. Looks like it could be moving to the House from the Senate, so that's great news. And we have some additional bills that will support education and higher education that are still in play and moving, along with measures that will support mental health. I am, however, concerned about the state of the budget, and I think that had Senator De La Cruz been on, he also might have spoken to that. Last week, there was an update in the WAM hearing with respect to the fiscal impact of the Maui wildfires. And it does look like that fiscal impact is going to be much more intense than previously anticipated. So there are conversations now about how are we going to handle that additional financial responsibility as a state, given that we are also looking at the hazard pay question and the previous implications that we were already considering from the Maui wildfires. So we're being really conservative, I think, in terms of the measures moving forward, because there's also a question of whether we're going to ask state departments and agencies to cut their base budgets. So the conversation right now at the legislature, I would say, is difficult and will require a lot of attention to fiscal creativity. And I think I'll have a better handle on this issue when we meet again next month. But I just wanted the community to be aware that these are challenging times. So with that, I'm available for questions.
Okay, board members, we are tight on time. It's 9:40. Between mayor's report, council members' report, and senator's report and representative, any questions at this time, or all good? June, keep it really short, June.
Actually, it's good you did it this way because this question is to all our local elected officials here. This is kind of like hopefully hitting off a problem before it occurs. I've noticed that with the closures of a lot of repair shops in Wahiawa, that the lines for vehicle safety checks are getting longer on Cam Highway. And eventually, with another one or two shutting down, it's going to be a problem. So maybe we need to get together along with the board and maybe come up with some kind of solution, because it has to be done with private sector, I would assume. And then, okay, so just as that one, something to think about for future. And the other one is another private enterprise issue is that we don't have a recycle center here in Wahiawa, right, anymore. And so I don't know if Senator Donovan's office had considered, you know, that occurring, or if it was just not planned with the shutdown of the repair shop and all the businesses that were using that area. We don't have another recycle center here, and a lot of people don't want to go to Mililani, and the other one is at Schofield, but then how can people get there, and they only operate certain times, and so something to think about before it becomes critical. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
June. Okay, and Joe, and then TJ, and then we're wrapping up after that.
Okay. quickly, Rep. Amy, do you have an idea of the budget shortfall number? And if that would affect any upcoming projects?
It will affect a great number of projects, I think, because the range of the new shortfall, so this is in addition to what we were considering before, is anywhere between 500 million and $1 billion in additional deficit. So now we have to talk about the rainy day fund. We have to talk about the hurricane relief fund. We have to talk about a patchwork of approaches, I think. But honestly, it's really the finance committees are grappling with that question now, and it's in their hands right now. And then the larger body will address the question together.
Of course. My other question is the Rose Street speed bumps, Loco and Rose Street. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to the last meeting, and so I guess I missed you out talking with the mayor's rep. I have issue with the Department of Transportation claiming that there's no problem there. We have a middle school at the end of this long road that everybody likes to speed up and down on. This is a safe routes to school type issue. And I do want to follow up on this. I do want to push it.
Yes, thank you. And I recently have canvassed that entire area, and every single household that I spoke to identified that as their priority issue and issue of high urgency. So I will be revisiting that issue with the mayor's office.
Thank you.
If I could just respond to June's questions really fast, because I can't answer number one. I mean, although it is clearly a problem, but the second question was about the recycling. And I just want to say that we do have a measure moving that would require all large grocery stores of a certain size to provide recycling facilities of a smaller scale, but just so that that's available in a larger variety or range of places. So I hope that measure passes, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, thank you, everyone. It is 9:46. TJ, real
Yeah,
quick.
Quickly, thanks, Rep. Peruso. And actually, I was going to bring that up. On a recent visit to Oregon, I noticed that a lot of the big grocery stores there do have machines that look similar to vending machines where people can go and put their cans and bottles and such in. And, and also, June, it was Reynolds' choice to not find another place in Wahiawa. But I also wanted to reach out to Kevin from the mayor's office and Chair Ishikawa. I know that the lady that was here earlier, her and her husband were celebrating their anniversary. She had reached out to the mayor to join her at her place of residence, I guess. If maybe we could share that protocol that Kevin was talking about in order to request the mayor to come out, maybe it'll work that way. Because I do know that they get thousands of emails, and so hers might have just fallen to, email heaven. But thank you very much.
Thank you, TJ, and good idea on that one. I'll relay that information to them. At this time, it is 9:47, and without any objections, we are going to defer board business items A, B, C, D, and our announcements at this time. Any opposition? And we're good? Okay, and at this point, at 9:48, the Wahiawa Whitmore Village Neighborhood Board number 26 is adjourned.
Mahalo.
Break down our chairs and tables.
Thank you.